Welcome, folks, here to M&M Family Furniture. Kevin Keathley on my right. I'm Darryl McCoy, and we got the maestro Thomas Rainye on the boards. Quick start there. Now, did we show the intro? Okay, show the intro, Thomas. Let the folks see. Now, there we go. Maestro's got us on board now. As we got live here once again at Willie Mead's and the Mead family's M&M Family Furniture here in Harold, Kentucky. If you're looking for furniture, there's no better quality. This is solid wood, Coach. It's not pressboard. You know, you come here, you see something you want, they do everything in their power to make sure you leave with it. And the big thing about M&M Family Furniture, when you come here and you see something in this store, you can buy it right off the showroom. Other stores, you can't. I went to buy a bed, and it was a 3-month wait just on a mattress at other stores. Here, you come in here and you're like, hey, I like that mattress. They're like, take it home.
You better believe it, Darryl McCoy, the thriving metropolis of Harold, Kentucky. We're back. We're here, M&M Family Furniture. My right-hand man on my left-hand side, the maestro's locked in with us. You better believe all hands are on deck. Busy couple of weeks, Darryl McCoy. We've got a lot to catch up on, and oh yeah, tomorrow night it really gets going.
Yeah, it absolutely does. As we're getting started here, we got a load to talk about. District tournaments are kicking off, region tournaments. The maestro's been heavy at work today, making sure he gets all that lined out. And I'm excited, guys. If you're tuning in, hit that share button. We are also live on the website and on our YouTube channel tonight. So make sure you guys, if you got a TV at home and you want to interact in different ways, I was talking to Lewis Ratliff. I was like, we may take some phone calls tonight, and he said, well, I watch on my phone. Well, now, Lewis, you can watch on YouTube, and you can call on your phone, and you can type on your phone. So, guys, keep us going in that comment section. Be part of the show tonight. It's an interactive show. Thomas, before we get to the show, want to give a big shout out to a young man that come into this world, Mr. Jet Hayes. Corey Hayes had his new baby, and everybody at that gym was waiting on Miss Hillary to have that baby. You can bet that baby's going to be loved by more people than it could ever imagine.
Well, going to grow up in the weight room. Congratulations, Corey Hayes, Hillary Hayes. And the one thing that I really like, I'm hearing Corey Hayes break it down for us, letting us know how the delivery went down. Oh yeah, there was no spinal taps, no epidurals. There was nothing. She went in clean and crisp, delivered it straight like an OG does. And I hear that she was right up 30 minutes later, walking to the room where Corey was with the baby. So congratulations. And that is one tough lady, Darryl McCoy.
Oh, yes, it is. Shoot, anytime without an epidural, and hey, hats off.
Yes.
So as we are getting started here, we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, the big story coming off last night was the dunk contest.
Yeah.
If you guys, as Thomas will show Mac McClung's dunks here.
Oh, the other guy.
Some boy, he gonna go down. We've seen him doing it forever.
That's a 50.
I gotta see it.
He's the star of stars tonight. This guy, the kick it, twisted, 360. No. That's his foot. Let's hear it, kid. Let's hear it. Go ahead and hate. Welcome to the MBA. No, you gotta be worried. Because watch, when he catches it, the pump, then freeze it again and pump it. He's up. That's a double pump.
Look at the action.
Freeze it and get it back up.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, that's a 50.
Matt McClung has saved the dunk contest.
Wait, let me see.
2 years straight.
That's a 720. That's almost
my goodness.
Wow. That's a 360.
A G-leaguer. Almost unheard of.
That was sad that she cheated him on that.
She did.
There's no way. I don't know what was going through her mind, but he had a chance to make history there, perfect all the way through, and she ended up cheating him 2 points. But, on a performance like, go ahead, Tom.
No doubt they were perfect. If you watch those, and no retakes.
Right.
How many times, when I watched it, the last couple years, they throw it up, they run up, catch it, they do it 3 or 4 times. before they make the dunk. No, first attempt. Just let me get this and get to the house.
Yeah.
Easy win. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, I mean, Coach, when you see these dunk contests, and I don't care if you get a 720 from the free throw line, if it takes you 6 tries to do it, I'm not going to be impressed when it finally happens.
Right.
He didn't have one mistake.
Not one. It was on cue. It was on point. It was perfect. He delivered, and that is huge. You talk about a guy that he's been in plenty of dunk contests, but coming from the G League, coming on a big time stage, and to deliver like that is one of the great performances, dare I say, of this 21st century, anywhere, any place, of how he delivered with what he already had the pressure on him, Darryl, because so many people said this guy right here, 5'8", Mac McClung, check him out, and he delivered.
Thing about it is, I think former UK Wildcat Shaden Sharp got a little scared.
Yeah. I think you're right on that. I think he realized, wait a minute, momentum has swung to Mac McClung. Maybe I should dial out, check out. I don't want to go up against this G Leaguer in a dunk contest, Thomas Rainye.
Well, you're exactly right. Like I said, no mistakes. It was perfect.
Go ahead.
It's sad because whenever you watch it, listen, Mac McClung right after, he committed to next year's dunk contest.
Yes.
And the thing is, back in the day, all the greats done it.
Right.
LeBron is the one that broke that chain because, he always was like, well, I don't know, well, maybe. That's not the way it should be. You should give back to the game like the game has given to you. If you're a star like that, you get your butt out there and you compete in this dunk contest. The Ja Morants of the world, the Shaden Sharps of the world, they need to be in that dunk contest versus Mac McClung.
What I'd love to see next year, you talk about a Ja Morant, you talk about a Toppin, you talk about a Mac McClung, and then you talk about a Shaden Sharp. That would be a tremendous dunk contest. And again, just to clarify how tough that was, I've had 2 guys enter the dunk contest, Darryl, in the NBA. I've had a bunch overseas, but they tell me there's not a lot of warm-up time, right? So they don't get their legs loose. They don't get a chance to really get that blood flowing. And they said it's extremely hard to deliver what you practice during those dunk contests, talking to them. And sure enough, Mac McClung was ready to go, and that's what's so impressive.
Well, I mean, he's done it his whole life, and that's what he's done in games. That's what he's done in practice. I mean, so, I mean, it's muscle memory,
right.
And the thing, when you take and look, this year's dunk contest. Now, listen, my man from my Knickerbockers, he was just trying to prove how high he could jump.
Right.
And not only that, he cheated that one time, pulled himself up, with the left hand,
right.
and it was the most ridiculous dunk ever. Go in and let's pull a letter off the bottom of the net. I mean, after I pulled myself up,
right.
Well, what was the impressive part of that? I just thank God for Mac McClung in this dunk contest, because if not, that would have went down as one of the worst.
It was not a lot of creativity. The elbow dunks have been done since '84, so there was nothing new about the elbow dunks, Thomas. Right? We've seen those as kids. That's already been done by Mr. Larry Nance and whoever else.
Well, you was talking about the great stars don't participate anymore. A lot of it has to do with the money. Back in the day,
right? You was getting that extra
money
paycheck.
meant something to those guys.
Well, it does, but if you remember a couple of years ago, Magic Johnson divvied up $5 million. I think it was going to give LeBron if he would have entered it. That's the situation. I mean, you're spot on. It's not worth these guys. They're too worried about getting embarrassed, then to go compete. They don't want to lose. And I like Becky Lynn Robinson's comment here. She said, where's Zion Harmon in it? Put him in it. Or not Zion Williamson. Yeah, put him in the dunk contest. So definitely exciting night. And moved on. Here in the mountains, a lot of people always doubt our mountain athletes. They're always like, well, they're still from the mountains. When they get to college, they're going to struggle. Right. They're going to do this.
Right.
I'm tired of hearing that or seeing that cloud over mountain athletes. When you take and you look at my man from Polka starting up at Virginia right now, doing a great job up there, Isaac McNeely, and then as you take a look at a couple of the stars here in the Cofields, what they're doing on the collegiate level, let's look at Obina and Keathley Killen and the baby-faced assassin, and tell me what you think about these two plays, Coach.
Yeah.
Andy Taylor, Obina,
Oh,
Killen.
that's a poster, baby. Let's take a look at it. Williams comes to help, and Obina puts him on the
Lion God's blessed him on that one.
The Warriors. Oh, wow. Look at that. Oh, wow. But the crowd goes wild on that one.
Lion God's blessed him on that one.
The Warriors. Oh, wow. Look at that.
Lion God's blessed him on that one.
The Warriors. Oh, wow.
I mean, them two plays right there, you know, that's the best of NAIA, and then you got Obina up at Marshall against Troy coming out, handing out them free sack lunches. You know, that right there tells you that our best stars here in the mountains can compete at any level, you know, and I think people are starting to see it when they see plays like this from our former stars.
Yeah, well, listen, you're right. Can they compete on this level? Yes. I think it takes the people like a Kim Works and the Obinas. It takes the Savannah Wheelers. It takes the Caitlin Keathleys, the people that ride it out, stay it out, because the facts are facts, ladies and gentlemen. It's always the word on the street. You go to University of Kentucky, when I was coaching college, they said, don't go recruit in the mountains. Don't waste your time. I did anyway, by the way, Darryl McCoy.
Yep.
I'd be in here all the time recruiting. They said, don't waste your time. They will not last a semester. And sure enough, like clockwork, most of those kids leave after a couple of weeks or a semester and go home. They can't stay away from mommy and daddy, or stay away from the friends, or stay away from that life that they had as Mr. Superstar and Miss Superstar. But the last 5, 6, 7 years, the culture has changed. You've had real dogs, real athletes, grind it out, stay it out, last it out. And somebody like Kim Works, Obina, the Savannah Wheelers of the world, they are proven that, you know what, if I come in the mountains, these kids are going to be lifers. They're going to be 4-year players, and we can count on them. And that's what it takes.
Well, I think that's the key. You hit it right there. So for so long, they were used to being the star.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, can they compete? Absolutely.
Yes.
100% sure.
Absolutely.
But they have to work for it.
Right.
And you know, so many of our youngsters don't want to work for it. But there's a change in culture
Yes.
now with the Obinas, the Kia Morris. Kia Morris is showing everybody what they missed. That's the bottom line. He is putting on a show at you.
We said it the last 2 years of his high school career. You know, I mean, his senior year, it wasn't even close. The kid was the best guard in the state of Kentucky. I mean, he was the biggest mismatch problem in the Bluegrass State, standing at 5'6". I mean,
that's been gracious, right?
Yeah, I mean, this kid, nobody could stay in front of this kid, and you seen him do it against blue chip prospects.
Right.
You seen him embarrass Reed Shepherd on Rupp Arena. You know, this is the kid, and then you take a look at the two biggest programs in the state of Kentucky, Louisville and Kentucky, both of them struggling. Kentucky has a guy in Severe Wheeler that, I'm not going to say he's, half of Kim, but imagine what you could have got having a home state kid and knowing that Kim Works has better vision, better handles. The only thing Severe has on him is size. You know, he's a little bit thicker, maybe can take, a beating inside a little bit better. But when you see what Kim Works has done, going out getting a season high 25, 9 assists on his final game, I forgot, I got it right here. They ended up taking and was playing Thomas More, beat them 84-83. UPOC finished the season, by the way, 17-11.
Yeah,
they
got
was
over the hump.
Yeah, 13-9 in conference. Bears have won 6 of their last 8. Hopefully that sets up, and with your point guard playing like this, hopefully it sets up for a deep tourney.
Yeah, you're going to have to get the Mid-South. You're not going to get the automatic bid now.
Yeah.
Union College has got that out of Barberville. They're ranked 3rd in the country, so they're going to have to win the Mid-South to get the NAIA bid. But they are playing well at the right time, and they got the right guys in the right places. Maestro.
Well, when did that change? When did they get on this run? When Ken got the line?
Yeah.
You go back to when he got his first start, everything started clicking at that point. Did he drop 25 every game? Absolutely not. But guess what? He made that impact.
Yep. Yep, I mean he's a competitor. That's what he does. Yeah. And listen, Ty Compton, right now you do whatever you can do to keep that young man here. Like you got the 2 biggest programs. You tell me that kid couldn't go light Louisville on fire. Imagine the people that he could put in the seats there.
And that's what I like. Darryl McCoy, nobody's got the back of Eastern Kentucky kids like Darryl McCoy. You better believe it.
Oh, well, I mean, I know you're sitting here and you're like, well, it's a far stretch. It's D1. I know how you think, Coach. You're sitting over there being a little quiet. But you doubted all last year. And look what the kid done.
He's doing
he
a solid
crapped
job
on every single person. You know,
I'm not. You've never caught me doubting Keon Warts.
But I can tell how you're smirking over there. You're like, you know, that's a big stretch from D1. No, this kid just wasn't blessed to go play AAU, go out but you know, he played with Thomas around here locally.
Played with the Mighty Bearcats.
Yeah, but this kid right here could have competed at any level. And when you take and see what he's doing, he's toying with college talent, and the people he's toying with in NAIA now is D1 leftovers because the transfer portal. Now, when it was sad when you seen the D1 schools not recruit this kid, because you tell me what he done last year. The kid won at everything he done. What did he do, or what did you see that he couldn't played point guard at the University of Louisville?
Listen, I'm going to let Darryl McCoy
sing that.
I'm going to let Darryl McCoy sing the praises of this young man because I got his back as well. But listen, he's had Ty Compton's found a gym.
But if you was playing devil's advocate, what would the D1? Why wouldn't?
Listen, Darryl McCoy, we've got some bloodline with Ken Warts. We're family in a roundabout way. So I'm cheering Ken Warts on to get it done, Thomas Rainye.
I speak the truth is what I speak. I'm going to say what I say to everybody else. You know? But at the end of the day, great performance by Kean, and it's a situation where, you know, Ty Compton, you know, you make this young man happy because not only is he filling the seats, but you know, he's got you playing as good a ball as you've been playing. So I'm gonna want to keep him around next year. So that's the way it is. And then we talk about we was talking about before the show officials. You know, these officials on college. Did you see the official that his 7-game stretch he went to Rutgers, I think it was somewhere in Georgia, then went to California, done a game, then went to Oregon, and then come back to the East Coast, deep in the East Coast, and done another game, all 6 games in 7 days, and had that kind of turnover. You know, that right there, that needs to cut out.
Well, Darryl McCoy, listen, these guys, when you talk about on the college level, they make a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
OVC officials make somewhere around the neighborhood, depending on how good they are or not, $1,000 to $2,000 a night a game. So you talk about OVC officials. So these guys are making big time income, big time money, living that official life. So it's hard to turn it down. It's hard to say no. But you're right. I think the head of officials in each conference,
so they get about $3,000 a game.
Yeah.
At the D1 level.
More than that, we talk about SEC, ACC. So it's tough to turn that down if you're an official. But head of officials, Darryl McCoy, they got to get a grasp on it, right? They have to have a better idea of who they're assigning to each game and where. And you got to have more than, especially at tournaments. Yeah, you got to have more than what you got. And I'm even speaking on the high school level.
Yeah, it's the high school level. That's where I really think things need to be overhauled. When you see an official doing a tournament when they got 7, 8, 9 games in a day, that needs to cut out. Right. You know, I understand everybody wants to make money, but you're not doing any good to the game in that, because you end up, you know, getting lackadaisical, you get lazy, and it's just habit. It's not saying that they're doing it on purpose. It's just, you know, when we call 7, 8 games, we get lazy.
Tough,
by the time the end game comes around, you're, you know, just dragging through the end of it, and you're not on top of your game. You know, and if you want the officials, you know, on top of their game, you've got to cut out the 7, 8, 9 games a day officials. You know, take and add, you know, 2 or 3 more on the roster list and switch them in and out.
I'm going to be the devil's advocate. Here's the problem: they don't have enough officials. I mean, they are really short when it comes to officials, so it's hard. I agree with you. Doing 7 games, and your analogy with us broadcasting is spot on. By that 6th, 7th game, you're tired. And you know they're running up and down the floor. We're just standing there calling the game. So I get it. I get it. I just wish there would be more people participating in officiating.
Now there's another one. There's another one. Thomas saying the different before the show. You was talking about how it shouldn't happen. There's no devil's advocate to it. It just shouldn't happen.
Well, no, I agree.
And in days like yesterday, there was no reason that the officials, because it was the last day of the season, there wasn't more games.
Yeah.
Go look at the schedule.
No, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's hard because of the lack of officials. Yeah. I mean, there's times when you see the same official night after night after night. That's hard too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Also, like you said about commentating, 7 hours refereeing as well. It takes a toll mentally because you got to stay dialed in. You got to stay laser focused. You got to be able to stay sharp. That's really what officiating is too. Is staying sharp, staying dialed in to watching the game, to watching on the ball, away from the ball. So it takes a lot out of you mentally. It's no different if you're in school all day from 8 a.m. to 4. By the time 3:30 rolls around, you're ready to go home. You're exhausted. That's the same thing with officiating. I think yesterday was a perfect example of the 15th Region JV tournament. I believe there was 2 officials for the entire day. Might have been 3, but for sure 2 called the entire day. It certainly would have helped, as you said, Darryl.
I think it was 2. Yeah.
Darryl makes a great point that with so many officials at home that Saturday, it would have been nice to. I don't even know who the assigning official is, and nor do I care for that matter. But at the end of the day, it would have been nice for that assigning official to make sure there was several officials at that 15th Region Championship tournament.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, I think it's very hard. And listen, these officials, they do a great job around here.
Yeah.
But it's just part of your nature. I mean, you're not going to be on your game doing that many days. I mean, your body can't handle that. So that's where I'm at. It's impossible to be on your game doing that many games.
Right. And let me say this, Thomas. I'm friends with a lot of officials. I think for most of them, they do a tremendous job.
Yeah.
I sincerely mean that. I'm not bashing any official. We are friends with a lot as well.
Yeah.
We talked to one for 15 minutes the other day, Thomas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just think basketball is probably the hardest sport to officiate.
Yeah.
Because think about it, it's nonstop movement.
Oh, it is.
Football, there's that downtime between plays.
Yeah.
Volleyball, it's a lot of standing. But basketball, that's tough. I mean, really, because it's nonstop movement. Of all the sports, that's probably the hardest, in my opinion, to officiate.
Right. They're saying they're having a hard time hearing you, Thomas. So make sure you turn it up. Okay. The Lewis Rattler, finally, something me and Lewis agree on. He said Kean Works, he said could have played at the University of Kentucky. And I agree. Normally, I wouldn't agree with that statement, but when you got Severe Wheeler there, I agree. I mean that's my devil's advocate of it. So and it's. Well, we'll leave that conversation where it's at here. We got a lot of comments coming in. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Grind Session. Come back and join us.
This is where it all started, right here on this farm. We may have grown over the years, but we've never lost sight of what was important to us. We're continuing that tradition today, and we always will be for generations to come.
If you're looking for a friendly and fun atmosphere to enjoy your daily cuisine, come to Cheech's Pizza in Lenore, West Virginia. Cheech's Pizza has world-renowned cheese sticks, delicious pizza, and the best subs in the pizza and pasta game. Don't forget to take advantage of our milkshake shop located inside. Bring your family down to meet ours. We are the place that treats you like family from the second you pull in the parking lot. We look forward to seeing you here at Cheech's Pizza.
Hi, everybody. Dave Baker here for Citizens Bank of Kentucky. Do you want to love your car even more? How about putting extra cash in your pocket each month by refinancing with new low rates at CBK? It is fast, it's easy. All you have to do is log on to wearecitizens.bank.
If you was pushed out of the area because of loss of work in the coal industry, look no longer. Jim Marr is here for you. Jim Marr is now hiring for all positions in the coal field. Stop by their offices in Logan, West Virginia or in Wheeling, West Virginia and apply today. Let the folks at Double Quick help you start your 2022 off right. They've brought back the Bourbon Pecan Coffee for a limited time only. You can also quench your thirst with the great deals on fountain drinks they offer daily. Double Quick is your one-stop shop for everything. They offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can stop by one of their many storefront locations spread throughout eastern Kentucky. Stop by and let Double Quick make your day better. We're back here at M&M Family Furniture in Harold, Kentucky. We got the Kevin Keathley to my right, Thomas the Maestro Rainye on the boards, and I'm Darryl McCoy. As we get started here, listen, as you said here, we got a couple comments I want to read before we get this. I like this one. Matt Thacker says, I ref from the stands and I've never missed a call.
Yes.
So,
right.
there you go. Mike Perry said, should put a weight limit on some of the refs. Out of shape, bad, 50 to 70 pounds overweight. Lewis Rattler says, I refed during college. I called games all over the 15th region, in not just one or two districts. And Lane Stewart says, I know there's a shortage on officials, but they should not ref games from schools they graduated from.
I agree with that too.
Some are biased and some are clear. And Lewis said they need to rotate the refs between districts so no one can keep calling the same games. Jessica Crabtree says, I've seen several that don't need to be officials in middle school this season with video proof. So, as you're sitting there seeing Roger Bryant says he misses Andrew Schull, that's another kid that from the mountains was the #1 ranked point guard in the D&D rankings, and he went straight out of high school and become Conference Player of the Year, and now he's doing big things on the D2 level.
Yeah, you're right. He's balled out.
Yeah, I mean, so, that's another kid that's just proof. I mean, there's certain kids you can tell are just going to go and make an impact right away. Kinsley Feltner, she will be playing right away, making an impact. Speaking of Kinsley Feltner, 4,000 points. Her and Sophie Atkins had a big game against Greenup County. Let's check this out. How about the young sophomore? She's sophomore, right? Sophie, knocking down the game winner. She's going to be the heir apparent of Kinsley Feltner. She's the next up there. They got her and Leandra Canute that will be returning. A nice little duo in that backcourt. But let's get to the big show, which was Kinsley Feltner. Kinsley Feltner scoring her 4,000th point.
4,000 points. Rarefied air. Might not happen for a long, long time around here, if ever, right? So that's one every generation you might get it. And she's done a lot of it without the three ball.
Yeah, that's true. Until this year, the 3-point shot was nearly inexistent in her game.
Right.
Yeah, that's always been the knock on her. If I was defending her, I would have let her shoot all day.
Right.
Because that was the one area she struggled. But, man, once she got going downhill to the basket, it's a different story. Now, she's improved tremendously. We saw it, Darryl, when we covered them at Floyd Central that night. She was knocking down deep threes, not just right behind the line, but deep. college level.
She done what every great player does. She found her weakness and she made it a strength.
Right.
And that's what great players do.
Every single time. You want to evolve, add to your game each and every year.
So only 4 players that I found on the KHSAA roster. Somebody said there may be 6. Only 4 players to ever cross that 4,000 plateau. You had Whitney Creech, who had 5,527 points from 2008 to 2016. Jamie Waltz of Highlands had 4,998 points from 91 to 96. King Kelly Coleman had 4,337 points. Now, that was in 3 seasons. Then 3 seasons. And then you go Jerry Grigsby from McDowell, 4,385 points. Now, here's the thing that I don't get. It's clear. They only had her playing from 75 to 77. So, King Kelly's had 3 years, but it had 3 years on it. So, I don't understand what the...
It could be... when did they actually adopt KHSAA women's basketball into?
Might have been 75.
Yeah, I think it was around 75. So that she may not got that year. That
could have been right. You could be right on that. So
but you think about that in 3 seasons.
Yeah, 3 seasons.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, they call him the king for a reason.
Absolutely.
And but Kinsley Feltner, in the 15th region. I think since Jerry Grigsby, she is the best player to ever come out of the 15th region, and I don't hesitate when I say that. You had Kathy Spinks, but when you take and look what Kinsley Feltner's done, especially if she can cap it off with a region championship this year, I don't see how you can't say she's the best since Jerry Grigsby.
But especially when you say, when you clarify it to high school, yeah, I think you're right, Darryl McCoy. I think there comes down to maybe 3 players that you can argue about, and she's certainly one of those that you say, yeah, if she gets that region championship, she may be at the top of the pecking order.
Yeah, we got, and that's just something that I don't know. When Kinsley Feltner, the thing that I look and I see so special about her, she's dominant.
Right.
She can play inside, outside. She's the LeBron James of the 15th region. I mean. I think when she gets going downhill, it's over.
And I went back, by the way, to some of the all mountain teams that you released over the years, Darryl.
Yeah.
And she's made her way up. I remember in 2019, she was on the honorable mention of the D&D. And then and she just kept evolving and kept gaining and kept growing and kept evolving her game, kind of like the 3-point shot. It's amazing to watch. I just went back and I was like, how long has Kinsley Feltner been on the All-Mountain team? And it's going all the way back to 2019 on the D&D All-Mountain team.
Catherine Catbird Isaac, she mentioned, remember, no 3-point line when either one of those two played.
No.
Yes, it was 75 when they started girls basketball in high school. So, thanks, Catbird.
Yeah, the Mike Perry said, or Brian Allen says, since it's tournament time, what are your thoughts on region back in high school games or gyms? Said it absolutely should be, in his opinion. Now he's asking our opinion. We'll let you go first, Maestro.
Absolutely. I think the environment's better. I get the big arena prepares us for RUP. I just like that feel. We were there, Coach, 3,000 people strong in Prestonsburg the other night. It was just different. It was different, in my opinion.
I agree with you. And Darryl, it's you talk about, it's central location. You can fit more people. I'm telling you right now, outside of maybe 1 or 2 games over the last several years that they've hosted a tournament at the Expo Center, you could fill them at the Fieldhouse in Prestonsburg, and you can fill them at, where else are we at? Pike Central, and you could fill that place to the rafters. And
Johnson Central.
And there's ways to make up that money, whether it's a little bit of parking money, whether it's concessions, whatever the case may be, you can make that money up. It's not going to be that great of a difference. I think it's ultra important to save high school basketball because, let's be honest, D&D Sports has done a lot to create a lot of excitement. I legitimately believe that junior high and high school, and you take D&D sports out of the equation, high school basketball is on the decline, ladies and gentlemen. And I think moving it back to the high schools will save a lot, like Mac McClung with the dunk contest. I think it'll save high school basketball and get that excitement back.
No, I agree 100%. I personally like. I don't get when people says that playing on that floor. Now listen, I get to a point that I could see how it could prepare you, but when you go back through history and look, since it's been at the Expo, there's only really been one team make a run, and that's been Elijah Justice and Shelby Valley.
Right.
You know, since it's been there. So look
Must
at
not
the
be preparing us too well.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Look at the success in the 70s, 80s, and 90s that Eastern Kentucky teams had downstate. So where does it really help you? And then I don't know. When you sit there and look, now the thing that I think helps the most is playing away, not just playing in your own region, playing all over the state. I think that helps you because I think it teaches you how to play with certain officiating more, because here in the region, which I love the way they let you be physical,
Right.
Other regions don't let that happen. That's why it's a different game. Yeah. That's why Christy Orm and the Pikeville Lady Panthers are so successful, because they don't dodge anybody. They play downstate, and whenever they go, and she has her team ready because they know how to play against them officials. They're not, that they don't just rely on physicality.
Right.
So and you can look and see this year is why it's going to be a dangerous year for the Lady Panthers of Pikeville. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. So but I think Lawrence County has done a great job of playing out the region too this year.
Well, they bring in different sets of officials. It's not 15th region officials, so I think it does have an advantage for those teams that play outside the region consistently. Look at what Pikeville boys did last year. They played a lot out. They made a great run, losing to the eventual state champs. If they hadn't met them at that time, they may have won a couple more games to get to a championship game. So I think that does prepare them, and I think that it prepares them a lot more than playing on the Expo floor. Just my opinion.
And the thing is, if you still want to do it at Expo, do it. Like if Pike County schools agreed, let that be your central place.
Right. But
shift it between counties. But my thing is, if you're going to play it, I don't know, Coach. It ruins you when you go and watch a Logan Chapmanville game, a Tug Valley Tug Valley Tulsa game like we seen this year. Paintsville Johnson Central. When you see the kids get to play in that kind of atmosphere, it makes you jealous that we got to witness it and our kids don't.
Well, it's about, again, I'll go back to this, that type of environment, that type of atmosphere, it helps build rivalries, it helps build excitement for a brand, and I'll go back again to how D&D, we've really done it for 3 years, but really last year we keyed in on junior high basketball. We're going to make it emphasis. We're going to hype it the whole year. We're going to hype rivalries. By the end of the year, ladies and gentlemen, it ain't no by happenstance. That Dorton gym was overflowing out the arena because of how you hyped it and you built rivalries. That's how you're going to build rivalries. If you get them back in the gymnasiums where they're packed on top of each other, the excitement when you're at the expo center, literally sometimes it's an echo in there.
Mm-hmm. Who cares if they're sitting right on top of each other? That's what you want.
Yes.
That going back to that Dorton, it popped up on my timeline this week. Was that special?
Man.
Yeah.
When they're standing deep, I can remember. You were talking about Chapmanville Logan. I was from Wheelwright McDowell. It was that way when I was growing up. But now you go with consolidation. A lot of these smaller schools closing down. You don't see that.
Right.
It was great. We got to see it with the throwback game in Prestonsburg. It was something special. I just think we got to do something to build it up. Our kids need to be in gyms.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my opinion.
And I will say this. Listen, at the Expo, I understand everybody's reservation there. I do see pluses from the Expo. I do. I see pluses there. So don't. I mean, I'm not acting like there's nothing good to come. I think there's a lot good comes from it. I think the people at Expo has been outstanding as a host. Our guy Josh. He's really good there. Make sure everything's took care of. When you look and see, the fullest I've seen it in the D&D sports era is the COVID year when Martin County won it. Yeah, Martin County, really the whole county come out to support the Cardinals up there, and that was by far the fullest. Now, I wouldn't mind if they would take and maybe curtain off the top section. I think that would even help UPike games. Taking curtain off, not the main, but like halfway through the top, because you'll need some of the top. But taking curtain, I think that would really help the atmosphere as well.
I think that absolutely needs to be done. I know Kelly Wells for a little while curtained off the UPike games, and it filled it up a little more and made it look a more cozy, right? Yeah. Gave it more of a home advantage. Yeah. So I agree with you. Even with the varsity high school, why not do it with some of the girls basketball, some of the boys basketball first round action? Because I'm telling you, sometimes there's not 800 people in that building for those first round games.
Yeah, and you still get so many of them. I mean, getting to play in the Expo Center too because of the All A. Yeah. And I heard that Belfry got. They was next in line to have that All A bid, so I heard Belfry will be in the All A tournament next year.
Wow!
So they won't be in that 2A anymore. Yeah. They'll be down to the All A, so that's going to be interesting.
Yes, big time.
Also, a little birdie, told me and Coach the other night that may possibly folks may be looking for a super region. Now. I don't know whether that's true or not. That's just hearsay. If that's the case, where do you stand on the super region?
We had this argument the other night. I'm in favor of the super region because I think every year there's that one district that gets shorted by saying their third best team is better than the best team in another district. It's happened ever since I've been watching high school basketball. Traditionally, it's the 57th. They're the one that always has the outside looking in. So I'm in favor of it. Darryl, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, I'll get Coach's opinion.
Well, we talked about it a little bit. I can go either way on it, but I'm going to, for argument's sake, going to lean towards I'm for the super regional. Here's where I want things to, and it may be what's going to happen, but I think they should at least have maybe a 500 record entering that super region. I think there should be some stipulations. I don't think you should go by RPI because that's tough to gauge. Yep. But I think maybe you should have a 500 record and get in there. But again, like you said, though, Thomas, being in that 57th, you could have a losing record. Well, Pike Central was 12-15 last year. They had 2-3 wins in the region last year, and they end up making it to the region championship. So maybe that's not a good argument either. You could have a losing record. Johnson Central, 14-15 right now. They can make a run.
Yeah, I mean, myself, I don't like it. I personally don't like it because I think that it's an everybody gets a trophy atmosphere. I think if you can't make it out of your district, then you don't deserve. If you can't win one game in your district to get there, then you don't belong in region. That's my personal opinion.
Let me ask you this for Thomas Johnson. You don't think that McGoffin County, they've knocked off everybody. You don't think if they somehow snuck into that, well, let's use the round of 64 too in the NCAA tournament, but go back to McGoffin County. You don't think McGoffin County, say they lose their first game, they couldn't make a run in the region?
No, I'm not saying that they couldn't make a run. Yeah, okay. I'm saying they don't deserve to be there. I mean, because you're taking what makes the region special. I mean, away from it. It's not special anymore because everybody's in it. Yeah. I mean, what makes it so special? Why is everybody, the thing about it here in Kentucky, and we got a ton of West Virginia folks watching, a region title, a little history, region title means as much as a state title in West Virginia. That's just the way it is. Making that Sweet 16, playing on Rupp Arena, when you take a look at schools around here, when you go to Pond Creek, you know what everybody talks about? Not ever winning a state title. It's the 3 years in a row that we went down walking tall in Freedom Hall, down playing in the region championships.
Right.
Those are that's what's celebrated here in the mountains is them region titles.
It is.
And that's what makes it so special. In West Virginia, a region title don't mean anything.
Right.
A state title is the only thing that matters there. So that's where I'm at there. I don't think, and I get Thomas's argument, but that's life. Wherever, geographically, wherever you're at, that's where you live. I mean, in the NCAA tournament, it's the same situation. I mean, where you're in a conference, wherever you live, that's why some of them get higher seeds, some don't. That's just life.
But shouldn't you want the best teams in the region?
Oh, what does that get out of it?
But here's my point. If that third team, let's say a district had number 1, 2, and 3 in the region, that third best team in the region that's in that district shouldn't play in the regional tournament.
Tough luck. That's where you're located.
No, that ain't right.
That's where that's an everybody gets a trophy atmosphere.
No, it's
yes,
not.
It is.
It would be if you didn't
It
have
soaks
a
it down.
Wait a minute. If you didn't, let me finish. If you didn't have a regional tournament, I see that. If you said everybody gets a trophy and everybody goes to rep, that's not what they're saying. They're just saying everybody gets in and has an equal shot. How is it fair for teams that have a 4-team district when somebody has a 3-team district? You're going to have 2 districts starting next year that have a 3-team district. And I'm not picking on them because we've got great fans and great teams in those districts. But if you win the regular season, you're automatically in the region. How is that fair to a McGoffin County, going back to Coach's example, who goes down and loses in the first round of their district tournament? They're not in.
Tough luck. That's where you're at. That's where you're located.
If you're going to do that, my opinion then is somebody that wins the regular season automatically ought to have a berth. If you're going to let 2 teams in the
Why is
59th,
that?
well, the 59th and 60th does that.
That's
so
not,
why shouldn't the 57th and the
That's a good
58th
point.
get the same advantage?
Now that's a good point, Darryl McCoy. There's 2 districts that's getting an automatic bid because they win the regular season.
That's life. I mean, that's in college. That's it's where you're located. You may you're sitting there in a smaller conference. You got a big conference that's getting more because they're in a big conference. You can't sit there and say like, okay, well, let's just throw. I mean, it's when you take a look at the way that the region is here, it's very special. You put every team in it. What makes that so special? Who cares about district tournaments anymore? I mean, I don't even know how that would work out. Is there even a district? Because ultimately, you could say right now you got a super region anyways. It just starts in district. You win your game, you're in region. And the region tournament is the show. You get the top teams there.
No, you don't.
No,
you don't get the top teams because you got somebody.
You get the 2 best out of every district.
I'll agree with that statement.
Yes.
Even though the 2 best in one district may be the worst in the region.
In the region.
It's wherever you're located. That's like making that's making an excuse like, okay, we talked about it the other night. That's life. When you talk and look at college basketball, it's the same way. It's the same way as region. You don't get just because, I'm over here, the Pac-12 or whatever, it sucks. But you know what? It gets the same amount that another one. I mean, you're guaranteed an automatic bid. You're guaranteed so many in it. That's just the way things are.
This is why high school basketball is wonderful in Kentucky.
Yeah, because people care about it.
That's exactly right. We got 68 people, and they're blowing it up right now. Catbird says, you guys are wonderful. Lewis Rattler said, maybe if you're in a 3-team district, you get 1 team, and 4-team district gets 3 teams. Possibility.
Also,
I mean, there's a lot of different things. I put C. We can't even agree. Thomas Nairn says he agrees with me. Thinks we need to do away with 3-team districts. Then that's tough. How do you do it? I really, and I just came up with that on the fly. I like if you win your regular season, you should get an automatic
bid. I'll say this. One thing's for certain, and it may not trend that way year after year, but when that super regional goes into effect, most likely next year, if that
We
little
don't
bird,
even know. We're just hearing rumors.
If the little birdie's correct, it goes to super region. Then guess what? It's going to provide a ton of excitement. Initially, it always does when you change things up. So there's going to be a ton of excitement heading into the postseason with just a different feel and different vibe to the postseason. But again, I'm on either way with it. I can go with Darryl and I can go with Thomas. I really can. I'm just going with the side of saying, you know what, super regional because of the three. That's what I don't like. I don't like some teams are getting that automatic bid and other teams are having a fight through it.
And go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say, and some of these districts might be the worst of the worst. And I know what Darryl's saying too. Don't matter because, hey, and by the way, congrats to the Morehead State Eagles. They're going to get a double bye. They won their regular season. But Coach Preston Spradlin, listen, the OVC ain't the SEC. I get what Darryl's saying with that too.
If that's what you care about, if you care about the four team districts, then maybe you shouldn't let Jenkins go back to the 14th region.
But you're still one short.
The reason
See,
Jenkins
he's a Belfry guy. I see what it is.
The reason Jenkins come over was for the super region, and Pierre decided not to have a basketball team, so that's why you got that.
Yeah.
So and I don't know. I don't know the perfect example, but I do not like everybody getting in. I think you take away what is special, and there needs to be. That's why in Kentucky the region tournament is so special because you got to make it there, and then that's the show. Everybody can't travel to Rupp to watch the Sweet 16. By the way, I recommend everybody does that. Something I take my son every year to. But if you're lucky enough, but if over at around here, the region tournament, that is the big show. You let everybody in it. Why is it so special?
Well, right. I mean, there's some argument to that.
We've got some more great comments. Luke Fugit says maybe where your make your regional record represent if you get in or not.
Yeah,
that's a nice comment there. Thomas Darren said we used to have 5-team districts.
Right.
He said just realign the districts and cut it down to 3 districts, and
I like the realignment.
Yeah,
idea.
and do it the way it should be. Lewis Ratner says you go to super region, then you need to seed the region. I agree. I agree with that statement as well. I think you make that district tournament mean something by maybe even giving them a bye or let them host a home game or something. Make that district valuable.
Right.
So,
yeah. I don't know the true answer. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. But right now, we got to go to commercial break. We'll be right back live here from M&M Family Furniture. We got 82 people live.
All-star night.
This is Bruce Walters from Bruce Walters Kia. By now you know Kia is a great vehicle, and you know they come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. So why should you buy from Bruce Walters Kia? At Bruce Walters Kia, we're going to change your oil for free for life. And what you do with that money you save is up to you. Come check out the 2022 Kia Carnival and the 2021 Kia Sorento. Only at Bruce Walters Kia in Pikeville. Or shop us online at brucewalterskia.com.
I'm Alicia Maynard.
And I'm Dr. Alan Baldwin.
And we'd like to show you some of the services we offer here at Maynard Chiropractic.
Big deep breath. Oh, yeah. Here at Maynard Chiropractic, we're taking all the necessary precautionary measures to ensure patient and provider safety. Schedule your appointment with Better Health today.
Here at Appalachian Medical, our team has extensive experience in dealing with respiratory disease. That's why we specialize in respiratory products and disease management. We want to bring our knowledge and know-how to help patients live a healthier life. Appalachian Medical was developed by clinical professionals. We have more than 30 years of combined experience in respiratory disease management, case management, critical care, and more. Our respiratory therapists are skilled and compassionate. With offices in Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, let us be the ones you trust with your medical health care.
Gracie and Tate merchandising has become a staple here in the Danville and Madison community. They'll make sure you find that treasure that's been eluding you. Everything you need under one roof. New items at discounted prices.
right here at Gracie and Tate Merchandising. Go Skyhawks! And we are back live here from M&M Family Furniture in Harold, Kentucky, where you get your family's furniture. Coach, real wood, oak, cedar, they got it here. It's not pressed wood, and it's better prices than you're going to find at the big box store. And the big box store, if you go home and a screw loosens out a year later in your recliner, they're not going to come fix it. M&M Family Furniture will.
Listen, locally owned by Mr. Willie Meade, a former 4-star athlete at Betsy Lane High School, a former Bobcat, and also a minister, ladies and gentlemen, with the Church of Christ. Listen, he might just show up. If something goes wrong, he may have with Darryl McCoy, show up with a wrench. Yeah, he might fix it himself. He's that type of guy, I promise you. I've known him for almost, my entire life, and they don't come any better than Mr. Willie Meade.
Well, he told us, he said, I take a pride in this. He said, because I got to live with these people in the community.
Yeah.
I got to go to the ball games, look them in the face. I don't want them knowing that I bought them sold them a piece of furniture that broke down 2 days later after they got there.
Yeah.
So,
when Maddie was moving to Richmond to go to college, I needed a couch. Everybody else telling me 2 or 3 weeks. He said, Thomas, bring a truck up. We'll load you up. She'll have a couch a day.
Yep.
So we bought it right here.
Yep. There you go. This segment is sponsored by Real Estate Nate. Guys, Real Estate Nate's making sure whether you're selling or buying, he will get you the best deal. Hit him up, Real Estate Nate, #1 realtor in the mountains. So as we are going here and talking, yesterday, the players and coaches of the year voted on by the Coaches Association was released. You had Coach of the Year in 15th region was Jason James from Martin County. 14th region was Matthew Taylor, and the 16th was Derek Cooksey from Russell.
Yeah.
So when you look at them 3 there, I mean, would that have been the way you voted?
Well, I think, and I was talking to somebody else about this, when you talk about the 15th region, there's probably 5 coaches that you could make an argument for. This guy did this, that guy did that. But when you look at it and say, well, who do you ultimately go with? Well, Coach James took his team to Richmond, won the Class A, got it done. They were on a 15-game winning streak, finished with 19 wins, which I think is the most of any team in the 15th region. So, he's probably maybe the guy you go with right now. Once the season's over, do you change it? Who knows? Does D&D go with that guy? Bigger coverage there? Who knows? But Jason James, probably 15th region, probably, Darryl.
Yeah, we take on the D&D coverage area. We got 3 regions that we have to choose from, and then we got somewhere around 30 schools in West Virginia that we got to choose from. So it's really hard. I think Martin County, I don't think you can argue with it because I think it was voted on before they went on this 8-game losing streak. That was, when you take a look at him winning the All-A title, starting out 18-2, I don't know how you could go against him.
How could you go against him? What he did, especially for 3/4 of the season, tremendous job. Coach James has been on the grind session. Love the guy, class act, gets it done, has for Martin County for several years, and I think he's deserving of that Coach of the Year award. Congratulations to him. And I just want to make sure that I mention Matthew Taylor. We talked about it during the broadcast yesterday during that 7-hour marathon. I've known Matthew Taylor for about 15 years now, and I make sure I clarify it. This ain't knocking him as a coach. I never envisioned him as a head coach. I said, this guy's going to be a really good assistant. He's going to be a great assistant coach. And he went on to be a Division I assistant. He went on to do great things. But I'm going to tell you right now, I have been blown away by my friend Matthew Taylor and the job he's done at Letcher Central. Not only the coaching job he's done, but how he's led that community, led that school, and represented it with class and character. Coach Taylor, I'm proud of you, man. The job you've done, hats off to you.
Has any school embraced D&D more than our friends over at Letcher County Central?
Right.
I mean, wow. Yeah. Every time we're there, you feel like you're home.
Yep.
And I love their thing. Come to the biggest party in the holler that night.
I love it.
So I just love their attitude. I love what he's got. And if you've not been there, it's worth the trip to see the pregame show.
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, it's phenomenal.
It absolutely is, and I couldn't have said it better myself, Coach. Tremendous amount of respect for Coach Taylor. I've covered him during the season, during the summer. I mean, he's got that same kind of intensity everywhere he goes. Yeah. So, when you take a look at Coach Cooksey up at Russell, I mean, that man has had a phenomenal season. The way that he has ended this season has everybody shocked. He's had a great year up there, and guess what? He's doing it with one of his stars being an 8th grader.
That's what I was getting ready to say. He's got the year of the 8th grader, right?
Yeah.
He's got 2 guys that are in 8th grade, and Caleb Rimmer now is coming along. He had an injury, broke his leg. He's finally getting back. I think he's averaging 7 to 9 points a game right now, giving him about 5 rebounds a game. That's tremendous for an 8th grader, right? About 6'4". I've had a chance to see Caleb several times, and listen, when he gets that motor running, Darryl, that's always been my thing. Caleb's motor's running. He's a different player, and obviously somehow Coach has got that out of him. He's winning with 8th grade, a couple of 8th graders. A great job.
Well, in the 15th region, if devil's advocate, who would have been the strongest contenders? If you didn't go with Jason James, who would have been the other ones?
Okay, so you got 5. I would say there's 5 coaches on the job they inherited and what they've done, right? So you go right back down the road. I think you go Floyd Central. I think the job that he's done this year, some guys leaving, some guys coming in, kind of mixing and matching that talent and different personalities. I think coach at Floyd Central, I think he's the one. I think Elijah Justice got to be in there because they're right at the top of the heap, right? So they're getting it done again. Has he exceeded expectations this year? Probably not, but he's kept them right at contention for that region title, and now they're finally healthy, so he's one of them. I think Chase Parsley's one of them. What the job he inherited to the job that he's done, a 9-game improvement, which is the most in the 15th region this year, outside of Jenkins, is a tremendous accomplishment in what he's been able to do the first year. And then I'm missing one, Darryl.
That's a good one, Jenkins.
Winston Lee probably would be in there. And Coach Lee, I love you, brother, but I don't know enough about some of those teams across.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I mean, you got to look at the schedule, and they've played a lot of them teams from Virginia,
which I don't know a lot about.
Yeah, they're not strong teams,
right,
but it's the program. You can look and see where he's got the program and see it's not just in the wins and losses. It's where he's got Jenkins relevant again.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, and he's got a good partner there in Ethan Cummings that helps him with that.
Right.
Then to me, listen, Eric Ratliff at Pike Central, the way he's done it with 2 guys, 2 stars. You got 2 guys every night. You got to shut down 2 guys, and they still find a way to win. They got a big win over Martin County the other night. Was it that McGoffin? Was that the other team they beat the other night?
Yeah.
Those are 2 huge wins over them, and going into postseason play, he's got them right there where, I think you can make a strong argument that they're one of the favorites as good as they're playing right now. Then I like McGoffin County. Their coach has done a fabulous job. May be Mr. Consistent. That's the key with McGoffin County. They may have been the most consistent team all year. And then, you can always go with Tommy McKenzie. Tommy McKenzie, most people will say he's the best coach in the 15th region. They'll tell you him or Elijah Justice. Those are the two big dogs. What he's done with what he's got, I think, has been truly special this year.
No, go ahead, Darryl.
And then, the other one, I mean, going out, I'm going to have to see how deep they go in the postseason. But Rodney Rowe, I think he's done a great job there at Shelby Valley, especially battling injuries. I don't know that all year long, I don't know that he's had his starting 5 at one time. I think, his starting 5's been hurt all year long.
Yeah. I do want to say, when you talk about Pike Central, me and you talked about this, the one thing that Coach Ratliff does, and this is the key to being a successful coach in basketball, football, baseball, whatever the case may be. You define roles for your players. You say, look, you identify a team identity. You have a team identity. Probably no one more in this region, there's a couple, has a team identity quite like Pike Central. They understand who they are. They understand who their 1-2 punch is. They understand who their role players are, and they're defined very precisely by Coach Ratliff. That's why I agree with you. He's one of those guys that you'd mention along with Tommy McKenzie, because the job he's done with, a lot like Chase Parsley, young group of kids, right?
Yeah, a real young group of kids. And, the thing, another guy, if you would have went 2 weeks ago, I think it would have been a shoe-in, Chandler Thompson.
They were playing well.
Where he had Lawrence County. I mean, losing what he did to graduation and them being where they're at, I mean, that's why Chandler Thompson will always be a special coach in my mind, because he does a great job. So as we're sitting here, let's talk about the 15th Region JV tournament yesterday. 15th Region JV tournament at Prestonsburg. It was the second year in a row that they had it. They've done a great job getting this together. It gives them JV kids. If you was there, you seen how much it mattered to them kids. This was a special day of basketball there in Prestonsburg. And when you I personally, I had a ball watching them, because them were the next players, the next up, and when you seen how hard they fought in that championship game, if you seen how much Shelby Valley wanted to beat Pikeville, Shelby Valley, for folks that missed it, I think we got them on there, the 25-0 on the season, undefeated. They capped it off with the 15th Region title. Coach, what's your thoughts on the 15th Region tournament?
Listen, 15th Region tournament, D&D Sports there from the get-go. We were there, Thomas Rain, we were there about 8:30 in the morning, getting everything ready to go. Darryl McCoy trying to get the internet worked out. At first, shout out to Mr. Thomas Nairn, right? That guy worked his tail off to make sure that event went off without a hitch. Tremendous job, Maestro, what he did, right? And the staff around him, there was a lot of people there. I believe Mr. Allen was there the entire day helping out. You had concession workers front. You had parents involved. D&D Sports was there. So everybody helped make that a successful event. But you're right, Darryl McCoy. You would see how much they wanted it. Championship game, they celebrated like they had just won the region title. When Shelby Valley, that horn went off, they won by 2 points. It was a celebration because they really, really wanted it.
They did win a region title. That's something that, you take a look 5 years from now, this is going to be a big thing. I really hope every region starts doing this, and they maybe have a state tournament for the JV players.
You better watch. They'll move it to the expo.
When you take a look yesterday, we seen a lot of talent. Real quick, I'll try to name off here the 15th Region all-tournament team as we get started. But, when you take a look, if you had to name the three – or I'm going to give you five players that impressed you more than any yesterday. Who are they?
This is no particular order. Braden Tackett from Shelby Valley. Brady Johnson from Shelby Valley. The Maynard kid, Devin Maynard from Martin County. Heck, I could name 3 players from there. I'm going to have to name more than 5.
You got 5.
That's all I got is 5?
Yeah, you got 5 because I'm going to give you 5, the 5 most, and then because you got to save for the rest of us.
Okay.
You get 5.
All right. Well, goodness. Pikeville, I really Darryl, I really liked E.B. Walters at the post spot. I like Maynard. I like Braden Tackett. I just named the other kid from Valley, Brady Johnson. Is that 4?
Yep.
One more.
And you're a big Mikey Hager fan.
I am. And I want to go with Mikey Hager, but there's so many other teams there. Go ahead, Darryl. I'm going to try to nail down one more kid.
I'm going to go. I think Braden Tackett. The kid fought.
Yeah, that's what I like.
It was every game from start to finish. He took no plays off. Right. Second, E.B. Walters. Yeah. He dominated the block. There was no big man there that could match up with him.
Right.
No big man in that entire tournament that could match up with him. Braden Bowden. You know, as far as he's come, I mean, I can see him being, you know, a star in the coming years there at Pikeville. Jackson Estridge. You know, I know he's my son, but, you know, and I don't give him anything lightly. You know, I took a lot of heat yesterday, but same thing with the way Braden Tackett, you know, the way that he fought from start to finish, didn't take plays off. That's the thing that impressed me about him. And then I know, let's see, as I go through these here, look, and I'm gonna give you one more.
What about Dials from Martin County?
There's 3 from Martin I could go with.
Well, I'm gonna spin my other one on Devin Maynard.
Yeah.
Devin Maynard would be my other one, and you know, if I'm not going to say Devin, Ethan Farrell, that's another kid.
Right, that's kind of the way I was. Do I go with Devin? Do I go with Farrell? And then of course Bryson Dials at the guard spot, really, really good. But
I'll tell you the all-tournament team here real quick. The all-tournament team was Braden Tackett from Shelby Valley, Peyton Owens from Pike Central, Caden Aaron from Prestonsburg, Clay Runyon from Paintsville, Devin Maynard from Martin County, Braxton Davis, that's another one that I probably should have mentioned. Braxton Davis from Lawrence County, Walker Russell from McGoffin County, E.B. Walters from Pikeville, Jackson Estridge from Prestonsburg, Ethan Farrell from Martin County, Logan Johnson from Shelby Valley, Braden Bowden from Pikeville, Brady Johnson from Shelby Valley, Bruce Coleman from Shelby Valley, and Bryson Dawes from Martin County.
Yeah.
That's your all-tournament, all-JV 15th region all-tournament.
Well, I could go with Dawes. People know how much I'm probably the biggest Dawes fan there is outside of his mom and dad. I love Bryson Dawes. I love Farrell. I love Braden Bolden. My goodness, I'm with Darryl, what Braden Bolden does. Who I'm most surprised with, and I know Darryl's like, my goodness, you're on this bandwagon with him, and I'm going to go back to him. He mentioned him. The development and evolution of Mikey Hager at Pikeville. He, ladies and gentlemen, he has the potential to be as elite as he want to be because of his size and strength. As he continues to develop that outside jumper, he's going to be really, really good. I thought Mikey Hager really stood out, more so for me, of how he's developed and evolved as a player.
Yep. So that rounds it out, Thomas. I know I've seen you on there quite a bit. You know, if you had to name a couple, who would it be?
Well, it'd just be the ones you guys mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, they stuck out all game long, and I was going to mention Jackson if you didn't. Just watching his development this year has been phenomenal. But I agree with Mikey Hager. Last year he was a nice key role player. Now he's much more than that.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and I think it's going to make that Pikeville group even more deadly moving forward. So I agree with that, and we've all seen, you know, this is the future. You know, we had a lot of people on the post when we put the schedule out. Well, why is my team not here? Why? Everybody was invited.
Yep.
Teams opted not to do it. I encourage, you know, I've said this for years. This gives these kids that don't get a lot of minutes in varsity something to work for all year.
Right.
Why not let them, and here's that everybody gets a trophy mentality, Darryl, with me. Why not give them something to fight for, too? We see it all the way through middle grade. There's a fifth grade tournament. There's a sixth grade tournament. There's a seventh grade tournament. There's an eighth grade tournament. Then when they get to high school, it's always been there's a regional tournament.
Yep.
Why not give them a JV, something that they can work hard for, too? Because the harder they work there, the better our high school programs are going to be moving forward.
You're right. And then going back to maybe end up having a state. I know the 16th region was hosting a 16th region JV tournament. I don't know if they still are or not, because I think Coach Mays may have been over that. I do want to finish with who I was impressed with. And when you talk about evolution, we get on the kick of Jackson Estridge, right? Not because Darryl McCoy is sitting here, but I watched a kid walk in the gym 2 years ago at the YMCA with my son. This is real talk. He walked in the gym, he wouldn't look me eye to eye, would barely speak, didn't have a lot of confidence. And you could see it. And development from, you get me emotional here, because I care about the kid and I love the kid. The development from that point to this point and how he's evolved as a player and has embraced being the leader of that Prestonsburg team. And he's one of those guys that, okay, he can go in on the varsity. He can get it done just like anybody else can. It says a lot about his work ethic, his commitment, and his evolution as a player, a lot like Mikey Hager. So I did want to make sure I mentioned Jackson Estridge.
Yeah, I think yesterday, and the thing was that you could tell the kid was playing with a purpose. He knows there's one game left, and every game he's been saying, I know I can help my team. He said, I know I can shut this guy down. I know I can shut that guy down. And I don't think anybody will argue defensively, he should be playing. But it's where he's evolved in the other parts. He knew he's like, what do I got to do to see the floor? Well, you got to rebound better. You got to make sure, your team don't, you play on the worst rebounding team in the region. You got to rebound. Well, he goes out and he does it. And then he's like, does that. Then he's like, well, why don't I get to see the floor? So then you're like, well, offensively, you got to do. You got to be more aggressive. And he's in that evolution right now where offensively, he's trying to thrive because, he's got a chip on his shoulder and he's wanting, to look at people and say, hey, I want this. It means something to me. Put me in the ball game. I can help you. And that's what he played with yesterday. You could tell the kid had a point to prove.
I love the guys with chips on their shoulder. I always say that. Give me a guy with a chip on their shoulder, and I'll go to war with them because they're going to have something to prove, and they're not going to back down from anybody. And like you said, that evolution that he's made as a player also is that confidence to have a chip on your shoulder saying, you know what, I'm going to go out and do what I do and show what I can do to help, not because of but because of we as a basketball team. And a tremendous job by Prestonsburg as a whole yesterday. A lot of guys stepped up for them as well.
And really quick, guys, to go to Thomas's point earlier, Ronnie McCann says in 1996, Harts High School lost one game in the regular season, and that was the double overtime ranked number 1 to Class A champ from the preseason. Said to the end, they was the most dominant, but got beat in the first game of sectionals and went home. So there's a little tidbit for Thomas as we got a ton of people tuning in here, and we're going to read some more comments when we come back. But we got a lot to announce. Guys, as you're watching tonight's show, you can watch it also on YouTube. A lot of people's like, hey, guys, how do I get this on my TV? I got this app. I ain't got a Facebook app, but I got a YouTube app. Well, we fixed it. You can watch it live on YouTube. It's better quality, but you don't get to interact. You guys got the phone in your hands. You can still interact with us and watch us on the big screen. Also, it's on our website as well. And want to announce we got people working on it. Right now, it looks like the D&D Elite AAU team is going to happen. We got a couple people that's working on it that's got a lot of experience in AAU, and they're setting it up. They know that we're busy right now. We're going to dive in as soon as the season's over, but if you are interested, we plan on doing big things with this AAU program. Make sure you reach out. We will put out a date maybe in a week and a half of when we're going to have tryouts. And where that will be. So just kind of advertising it to you folks at home. This is going to be big for the Mountains and give them a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with the top 10.
Eastern Kentucky understands the importance of taking care of one another. That's why after graduation, I came home. 25 years later, I've put together a team at Glenn Martin Hammond Law Offices dedicated to fighting for your legal rights. When you're dealing with a sensitive legal issue, you want someone who will take care of you as a person, not just another case. Our team will help you through the legal process of Social Security, personal injury, work injury, car wrecks, wrongful death, medical malpractice, and nursing home neglect. Call us today.
Come visit the Huntington Ale House, where you get the best steak, burgers, and brews in the Mountaineer State. It's an all-American steakhouse, voted the #1 mac and cheese in West Virginia. We serve brunch all day. 48 draft beers on tap with the state's best craft beer selection. Half-price happy hour with half price on selection appetizers, drafts, and cocktails from 3 to 6 p.m. and again, 9 p.m. to close. The Huntington Ale House is also open to hosting events and parties in our upstairs section. Give us a call at 304-522-2537 or contact us via huntingtonale.com. We look forward to seeing you. If you got a big job to get done, don't just trust any flagging service. Call Diamond Flagging Service. Diamond Flagging Service keeps your community safe while also making sure it stays moving. Give Diamond Flagging Service a call today for their services. They also offer amazing job opportunities. Diamond Flagging Services, proud supporter of the Mountain Athletes. At Giovanni's Pizza in West Logan, we got subs, calzones, wings, pizza, and more. Stop by today. Great service with great deals. We also got a newly renovated and remodeled dining room where you can enjoy your game day celebrations or relax after a trail ride. We look forward to seeing you at Giovanni's in Logan, West Virginia.
We're here at M&M Family Furniture, where we have lift chairs. They're the best lift chairs in the business. They have something no other lift chair has because it's a patented fabric. And it is waterproof and it's antibacterial. So if there was some accidental incontinence, it doesn't even grow bacteria. And we service these for as long as you own them. The motor goes out, you call 478, we'll come and fix it. And you can also get an adjustable base and mattress. Mattresses have a 10-year warranty. Adjustable bases, the best in the business. They have health benefits. Like if you have acid reflux, you won't have it anymore with an adjustable base. They help sleep apnea, circulation in your legs, and so much more. Check us out at M&M Family Furniture.
M&M Family Furniture in Harold, Kentucky. Family owned, family operated.
We're back here, M&M Family Furniture. Kevin Keathley, I'm Darryl McCoy. We got the maestro, Thomas Rainye, and all you folks at home got a lot of comments coming in, Thomas.
Oh, absolutely. We've been busy, and I love the interaction, so keep them coming. Thomas Nairn said it was a great tournament. I really agree. Jackson's effort, it was great. He was also in Kib with the Braxton Davis. Very impressive. Barb Dial said, remember, Bryson's only a 7th grader, plays really hard, and I'm just a proud grandma.
Should be.
Absolutely. Presley Marshall said, I'm not sure why so much hate towards Coach Ratliff. The schedule they played losing a 2010 guy, and they beat Martin County twice. Don't think we hated on him. I think somebody did mention him as well.
I bragged on it. He was one of my first coaching candidates.
Yeah, they have more. They need to have more JV games in district, and I agree with you, Lewis Ratliff, 100%.
Do away with the boys girls doubleheader.
I agree. I think let them play. That's the only way they're going to get their time to shine.
It's the only way you're going to build your pipeline up.
I agree.
Go ahead.
I agree. Brian Allen said anybody that thinks the tournament doesn't matter anything should have watched the championship game, and it meant a lot to these kids. Thomas Nairn again says Martin County has a great bunch, and I'm so glad Martin County was a part of it the last couple of years, and hopefully will continue to play in the years to come. Jeffrey Trish Addis said Derek Newsom should have been mentioned in that topic. Lost 3 starters from last year teams and our number 1 seed in the 58 district. And I think that gets us caught up.
Yeah, I knew I was missing somebody. Derek Newsom definitely deserves to be mentioned there. The way that they're blowing people out, on with the loss that I don't think anybody lost more points per game than he did. So maybe Lawrence County. I'd have to look and see.
Right there with the two of those. Definitely.
Yeah. So they lost Chase Mims and Jordan Frazier and Sean D. Howe. Lawrence County lost Trenton Atkins and Cody Maynard. So that was definitely a huge loss. As we are Going here, we got 3-team districts in the Louisville area, and they only play each other once. So the number one team going into district tournament gets an automatic bid to region. Plus the first round 6-7 region tournament is a higher seed. They can go to Valley, both girls and boys region 7 and 8. That gym is not that big and never gets filled for majority of the regional games. Cross Taylor says, "What's up, guys?" Ronnie Stevens says, "Tyler Stevens stepped up a lot." Yes, Tyler Stevens was one that really improved yesterday, and you could see the thing I liked about that kid is he stood up for his teammates, and the kid showed fight in a team that hasn't showed much fight all year.
I like the toughness that he showed. Like you said, he really found a way, found his niche this year. Darryl's been on the bandwagon. When we're on a commercial, he'll mention him and talk about how big of a fan he is of his. But I'll say this: last year, I think he may have found who he is as a basketball player and his role in that Prestonburg Black Cat locker room. He was tough, he was physical, he provided grit, and he didn't back down from anybody. You got to love that because you need those tough guys in that locker room.
You absolutely do. And as you sit here and look, we're getting ready to release the top 10. Well, let's go ahead and release the top 10. Boys or girls, you pick, Thomas.
Girls, always ladies first, Darryl McCoy.
All right.
Here we go. All right, there you see them.
Now, before Thomas announces this, we are doing it different. This is the final top 10 of the grind session season here, basketball season. So we are doing a power rankings instead of by votes. So this is who we here at D&D, and then we'll take everybody's thoughts after.
All right, number 10 coming in, those Martin County Lady Cardinals. Number 9 is Spring Valley. Mingo Central coming in at number 8. Boyd County coming in at number 7. Russell sliding up at number 6. Rowan County at number 5. Ashland, the Lady Kittens coming in at number 4. Lawrence County number 3. Wayne number 2. And sitting atop the D&D Sports Mountain Ladies Top 10 is Pikeville at number 1. Others receiving votes: Johnson Central, Floyd Central, Paintsville, Chapmanville, Lewis County, Pike Central, and Logan.
All right, Coach, as you look.
Power rankings, Darryl, I like it. I like the power rankings.
Where'd you go wrong?
I don't know if you went wrong anywhere. I think it's exactly where it needs to be with Pikeville and Lawrence County in those top 3. Could argue top 2. So I'm good with those power rankings. I like it, Darryl McCoy.
Now, as I look, the thing that wasn't really confident in, because I think they may belong up around the 5 spot, is Boyd County. But Boyd County is on a 3-game skid.
Right.
And when I sit and look, I don't know. The only thing that I can see is Audrey Biggs is back.
Right.
So I think it may just be her getting used to her teammates.
Yeah.
But they've lost to Rowan County, Ashland, and Russell all in the last 3 games. So there's no shame in losing to any of them.
No.
But you adding a Audrey Biggs, you got to think they was ranked number 4. And you got to think adding Audrey Biggs is just going to make you that much better. So that would be the one that I could see up there.
Yeah. What do you think, Thomas Rainey?
No, I agree with all of it. I mean, I don't know where you could, my argument is, and I'll flash it back up there for everybody, who do you take out? You say my team deserves to be in there, then tell us who you need to take out. Because I think that's a top, let's see, 1, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's a top 17 right there.
Yep.
Who do you put in? Obviously people say, well, Paintsville. And there goes my reason for the super region again. Look there. You got 3 57 district teams in there. And I don't see some from other districts.
Well,
so,
yeah.
I mean, it's tough.
I'll just say this on the this is the final one. Regular season or final one we're releasing. The final one we're releasing for the year. I think on the girls' side, it's about as clear cut of the previous years. I don't think I've had much of a disagreement the entire year, other than a couple of times. This is about as solid 1 through 10, and the ones receiving votes. Now you can mix one maybe there or somewhere else, but I think with girls, it's pretty much being pretty clear all year.
And I tell you, we went the other day and watched Floyd Central and Letcher Central, and what was a slobber knocker of a ball game. I mean, it went into overtime, and I mean, you could see Letcher didn't want to lose that ball game, and just seeing Floyd Central, you know, that they're so lucky to have Maddie Mead come over, because that gave them another great player to put in that starting lineup. So now they got a really great 5. Right. You know, they go about 2 on the bench before they start dropping off a little bit. You know, that Floyd Central team would probably be one that people would say could be in the top 10 over Martin County, but I think Martin County has wins over them, right?
Martin County beat them once, I'm sure. Maybe twice.
Yeah, so.
But they were both games, I think, were close, if I'm not mistaken.
And Martin County, listen, when you go, I've not seen the women's coach of the year, but have you?
Melinda Feltner.
Yeah, Melinda Feltner, well deserving. When you see what she's done this season, she's got her team right there. This Robin Newsom at Martin County picking up her 500th win, that's another one that you could make a strong argument for Coach of the Year. Right. I mean, I don't think anybody thought losing Jalea Warren, losing, what they did with graduation, I don't think anybody thought they would be as dominant as they've been, but they've been right there in that top 10 all year. Great job by Robin Newsom there. Floyd Central, I think, would be the one. Now, when you take a look outside looking in, the teams that I could see making a run in the postseason is Paintsville. I think Paintsville could be a mismatch problem for quite a few teams. If they can get teams to play their style of ball, they're so physical. I think that they can make it rough on a lot of teams. Yeah,
I agree. You've got outside shooting. Then you've got Priest that can go inside, outside. So anytime you got that in the 15th region in girls basketball, you can make a run. And going back to what you said of Floyd Central, I know previous years, Maddie Mead has been a reoccurring theme on the grind session. We have sung her praises. It seems like a little bit this year, it has not been as much talk, not for any other reason. Listen, she has been an absolute game changer for Floyd Central this year. You add just that one piece of an elite talent along with Harville, she's the difference maker. We already know what Harville does. We already know what those other young ladies do. But when you add Maddie Mead to that mix, now all of a sudden you become a region contender. And Maddie Mead has just been consistent, and been that difference maker for Floyd Central this year. A lot like when you talk about that, Paintsville, those different pieces they have.
While we're talking about girls, I want to mention Amelia Casey on senior night at Phelps. This girl went out 20 points, 13 rebounds, 7 blocked. I mean, her coach said that there's no doubt in his mind if they kept blocks still that she would be top 3 in the state. Wow. He said every game she's got somewhere between 3 and 8.
Wow.
So, and if you watch her play, you would believe that because, she's a volleyball player. Yeah. And I think when you sit there and look, a lot of people says girls basketball is on a decline, but people that says that, it's hard for me because girls basketball has been so good this year. It's one of them years where there's not as dominant teams as they used to be.
Right, that's for sure.
Yeah, so, but I think the emergence of volleyball has hurt it a little bit, but Amelia Casey, she's the perfect example of how you use volleyball to help your basketball. Yeah. She's a great volleyball player that really gets up. She's got huge vertical, and you can see it on the basketball court. That's what I really hope volleyball players realize. That sport can transition over to basketball very well, and Amelia Casey's a great example of it.
Absolutely. You can still play both. Go ahead. Suit them up. Both sides of volleyball, basketball, go ahead. And like you said, that's going to help you with your timing. That's going to help you with your ability to defend, anticipate, do a lot of different things. So volleyball translates to basketball, and basketball translates to volleyball. So it's a great 1-2 punch if you want to be a multi-sport star.
Yeah, so we're going to take Thomas is going to give us some postseason situations in a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and show the boys this segment.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and throw the boys top 10 up, Thomas.
Without further ado, number 10, McGoffin County. Number 9, Pike Central. Number 10, Tug Valley. Number 7, Logan. Number 6, Russell. Number 5, Pikeville. Number 4, Letcher Central. 3 is Ashland. 2 is Boyd County. And setting atop the D&D Sports Top 10, the Chapmanville Tigers. Others receiving votes, Floyd Central, Shelby Valley, Martin County, Betsy Lane, Spring Valley, Fleming County, and Scott.
With power rankings, again, Pikeville's completely healthy now. All right, so they're ready to go. You got guys back, no more injuries, no more sickness. As far as we know, they're ready to go. If everything was everything, I'd probably have Pikeville higher, but because it is, you got to base it some off that previous couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks. They're probably where they're at, but I feel like Pikeville should be higher.
I myself, I'm glad you said that, because I think that Pikeville myself, I think Pikeville, and I know Letcher has beat them. And beat them recently, without Heath Darryl. But, if this was a week from now, after Pikeville's got, a little bit under them to play, I think Pikeville's second best team in this.
Yeah.
I think it should have went Chapmanville, Pikeville, and then you go Boyd County, Ashland, then Letcher Central, Russell. I think the rest of it's spot on. I think the Pikeville is the only one. I think I would put Pikeville at 2 and slide the rest of them down. I think Pikeville's second best team in the mountains.
I like that. I agree.
Yeah. What about you, Thomas?
Yeah, when they're healthy, I think you can make that comment. But having victories over them, it's hard to put them ahead of them. Because head to head, and I think they were healthy when they played everybody but Letcher the second time. Correct? They were healthy when they played the other two. So I'm fine with where they're at. I am.
Yeah, I like I said, McGoffin County has been the most consistent.
Right.
Me myself, I think Martin County is still, when you take a look how they started this season, there's obviously something going on there that is causing it to slide like they have. Because I think Martin County is a team that is top 5. I think maybe you could push them at 6, but they've shown that they can beat the best teams. They played a tough schedule, but when you drop 8 games, that's what happens. You slide in the rankings. But I think if they get things figured out, then I think they are a team that can be in that top 5. I think they're one of the ones that can dethrone Pikeville.
Why? Because offensively, if it's clicking, it's coming together, they're the best offensive team in the mountains, quite possibly. They're that good. So you're going to have to you better believe, let's hold that team. It's going to be awful tough to hold them under 78, 80 points on, every single night. You talk about Luke Kell, you talk about those other guys. They're going to go get you buckets. Braden McKenzie. So I'm with you. And like I said 2 weeks ago on the grind session, circle the wagons, keep it in that locker room, go to war for one another, keep everybody else out for the next 2 weeks, and go do what you do, Martin County, because you reeled off 15 in a row. Keep that stuff in the locker room and go to war.
Yeah, I think as you get Peyton Davis more involved, that they're going to see more success in the win column. I mean, he's the difference maker. The more he plays, the more they win.
Right.
That they got enough players there where they could split that time evenly. But he needs to be playing an even share with everybody else, because when you look at it and sit there and think down the line, is there a better 6th man?
That's tough, right? Because he's put up some tremendous numbers. I've went through probably 6-7 games when he was getting those 18 to 22 minutes, and he was putting up 6 rebounds, 4 steals, 10 points. He was doing a lot of different things. I think he's one of those glue guys. Yeah. And that's sometimes people take that as a knock on a player. Listen, Billy Davis, you tuning in, that ain't a knock. That's a surefire compliment of Mr. Peyton Davis. I think he's a glue guy. I think he makes everybody else's job that much easier when he's on the floor. Listen, Coach James has such a tough task because he has so much talent in that locker room that sometimes maybe you can get overwhelmed by, let's just be honest, you can get overwhelmed by parents, you can get overwhelmed by fans, personalities in the locker room, and you can get overwhelmed a little bit. But the one thing I think maybe helped this situation, listen, you need positive sometimes in the locker room. You need positive around the program. Coach James named Coach of the Year. Sometimes you just need one little thing that takes it right back, rights the ship. That Martin County team, I'm with you, Darryl. They could flat out win it all if it all comes together.
They're in that 57th district. They're going to face one of the hottest teams out there right now. We covered them the other night in Johnson Central. Johnson Central could pull the upset. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. We're going to talk districts as they line up. But, real quick before we get to that, want to congratulate Haven Ford from the 16th region, Kinsley Feltner from the 15th region, Abby Maggard from the 14th region, and then in boys, Riley Salmons from the 15th region, and Zach Otis from Bath County out of the 16th region for being named Players of the Year by the coaches. So
I'm going to make a prediction right now. It don't happen very often in the mountains. Riley Salmons will be on that Mr. Kentucky basketball team competing against Indiana in a month or so. Mark my words, because it very rarely happens. The 15th region, 14th region kids, they usually get cut pretty early. No, Riley Salmons is making that team.
I agree 100%. I think he's well-deserved, and he's going to be primed for a postseason run. We're going to pick some games coming up here in just a moment. Thomas is getting them lined out. We will be right back live from M&M Family Furniture.
Come on down to Wild and Wonderful Smoke Shop, where you can get all of your Delta 8, Delta 9, and CBD and vape needs, located right here in Logan, West Virginia. They have the best prices around, so drop on by today.
This is where it all started, right here on this farm. We may have grown over the years, but we've never lost sight of what was important to us. We're continuing that tradition today, and we always will be for generations to come.
At Miller Brothers Pharmacy, we are dedicated to providing outstanding personalized customer service at an affordable price. We are your one-stop shop for all your pharmacy and medical needs. Our staff has over 90 years of experience, so you can count on fast, personal attention. Our pharmacy is proud to offer delivery service for your convenience with free delivery for patients within Madison and Danville city limits. Contact a member of our team about delivery today.
Let the folks at Double Quick help you start your 2022 off right. They've brought back the Bourbon Pecan Coffee for a limited time only. You can also quench your thirst with the great deals on fountain drinks they offer daily. Double Quick is your one-stop shop for everything. They offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You can stop by one of their many storefront locations spread throughout eastern Kentucky. Stop by and let Double Quick make your day better. Back here at M&M Family Furniture, you're watching The Grind Session, the #1 high school basketball show in the mountains. Kevin Keathley, the maestro Thomas Rainye on the boards. I'm Darryl McCoy. Guys, really quick before we get to talking about the season, the districts, and stuff like that, middle school how about the Belfry winning the Pike County Championship in dominating fashion? I mean, they dominated Mullins over there. What was your thoughts about that game? Did it surprise you after how Mullins come and beat them on their home floor?
Well, here's what it is, right? It's like that 96 Kentucky team. They got beat early in the year against UMass, and that kind of put a chip on their shoulder. Come back and knock off UMass, led by Marcus Camby. We knew all year, and not the slight Pikeville in the least, they're legit and they're right there. But we knew all year that it was Mullins and Pikeville probably a step ahead of everybody else here in the mountains in terms of basketball.
Mullins and Belfry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mullins and Belfry. It didn't surprise me because I knew that loss was going to fuel that fire come championship time. So was the score by 30 surprising? Yeah, you better believe it. But the fire, the fight, the intensity from Belfry, was it surprising? No. I expected that after that loss. You know how Eric Rash is, right? And Brett Charles, they were going to have their guys ready to play and compete. And I felt like maybe for Mullins, and I won't keep it long because I know we're trying to move on, but I felt like for Mullins maybe that was their Super Bowl, that win on 8th grade night at Belfry. And that's not to take anything away. That was a huge accomplishment and win. But I felt like that deflated a lot of their momentum.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, and obviously, you know, hats off to Doug Powers and the job he done at Pikeville.
Yeah.
You know, Pikeville lost a lot.
Right.
You know, and for him to take and have, he was right there with Mullins and Belfry.
Right there.
As, you know, the three top teams in the mountains pretty much the entire year. So that they was the three clear. And for him to do a coaching job like that, you know, really hats off to him, you know, because, you know, they come back, Brody Little, Coach Long, and, you know,
Daniel Gillespie.
The Gillespie kid really worked this summer to get where he could come in and be that difference maker, be that third person for him. And then you got Jaden Muncie, and I forgot the other kid's name, but that Pikeville team, you know, don't undersell it just because they didn't make it there. That was a very good Pikeville team.
It was a very good Pikeville team. They led Mullins twice to the wire, up by 11 with about 4 minutes to play at their place. Got beat by Colton Ratliff 3-ball to lose it. Listen, if Brody Little had a really good season.
Yeah.
But Brody Little caught fire, and he became the Brody Little that was at the end of last year, at the end of this year. And you saw that by what happened down at the KBC. That kid started pouring it in like he did last year. I believe he clad close to 30 one of his final 2 ball games. You have 30 in junior high, that's equivalent of having 40 or 50 because of minutes played. That Brody Little Cole Sloan duo late in the year started coming together like we knew it would. They were just maybe one piece short when you talk about Belfry and Mullins, but Pikeville was right there all year long.
But at the KBC, it was something impressive for Mullins to make that run like they did.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about. Mullins went down to the KBC, and they ended up making the state championship game and getting beat. Who was North Laurel beat them? I mean, that was a great bounce back from, you know, just a night before, you know, losing the Belfry. So, you know, you coming fresh off, or a couple nights before, coming fresh off that Pike County loss, and to be able to perform like that downstate. And, you know, to be honest with you, Belfry, you know, and I'm making no excuses for it, but I think that a lot of people wanted to see Belfry lose. Yeah. And hats off to Belfry. Listen, the thing about it, a lot of people says, why was Belfry number 1 after Mullins beat them? You know, when you go and look who Belfry played, out of the Elite 8 last year, they played every single team but one. I mean, they didn't dodge anybody. And that right there, you know, that when you can take and dominate a season like they did and only have one loss, I mean, in the area, that right there was really impressive. And I'm not just going to take a, 2 or 4 point loss and knock them off when they dominated a season like that. Now, and the strength of schedule was the big thing that come into factor in that.
Well, you nailed it. Listen, you put blind resumes together and you say, well, Belfry went down to Mullins and won by 16. Mullins went to Belfry, won by 4. Belfry returns the favor, right, in the championship game, the rubber match, and wins by almost 30. So I think the voters had it right of who was the overall better team head to head. That was proven. But that take nothing away from Mullins. I've been on their side the entire year. I've watched those kids grow up. They had a bunch of tough guys, Darryl McCoy. They could have packed it up. Like you said, they lost the night before. They headed down to KBC. They could have packed it up. They could have went home, but they rallied around each other. They've been playing together since 4th grade. And guys like Colton Ratliff. Let me tell you something about Colton Ratliff, right? He's been playing with Bratson for a long time. That kid is as competitive and hungry. He's like a hungry dog chewing on a bone, Thomas Rainye. That kid don't back down from nobody, and that's what makes winning teams. That's why they're going to be really good next year because of Colton Ratliff. Colton Young. Colton Young's one of those guys. You want him. You talk about foxhole guy. That guy's 6'4", 180 pounds. He'll knock your head off in a heartbeat. And that's the type of guys you need to win ball games, along with
Give
Hall.
me Jameer Knuckles in my foxhole.
That's what I was going to say. Jameer Knuckles. We talked about him all year, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference maker in Mullins this year? Colton Young and Jameer Knuckles, because of their versatility and their toughness in that interior. Jameer Knuckles, another guy, not going to back down from nobody. So when you got 3-4 guys like that, Thomas, you're going to have a chance to do well in the KBC.
Well, it just shows how tough our D&D coverage area is. Come on, guys.
Yep.
You know, the team that loses in the Pike County tournament goes down and finishes runner-up in the state. You know, Belfry was right there. You know, Pikeville had a great performance. I mean, that says a lot about what we have right here in middle school basketball in the D&D coverage area.
Well, that goes to my point here. Bobby Builder says, guys, come on now. Is the KBC not more impressive than a county tournament? Are we going to talk, not going to talk about that? Well, you just have to give us time, Bobby. Give us time, Bobby.
Bobby Love, come on, man.
But, you know, to me, if you watch this show, you know where I stand. Me and Coach, we stand completely different ends of the spectrum on this situation. I think I put play around here higher than I do play downstate. That's just the way I think. When you take it means a lot more. It's like saying that, well, for instance, it's the same situation, you know, and normally we don't say it in the KBC. Well, for instance, if you went and watched the way the KBC was officiated, you'd probably agree it meant more around here, you know, because I seen a lot of videos coming out of the KBC this year where it was some horrible officiating. What? So, and I'm not going to take, you know, that lightly, because I think a lot of teams from the mountains really got cheated down there, you know, and I'm not saying on purpose, but I'm just saying, you know, when you take a look at some of the officials they had there, you know, I think we got to figure some way to get better officials if you're going to take and call that a state tournament.
Right. Now, Bobby Love, you listen, we talk about it all the time. You know, listen, I want to see that Mullins group be successful. I've been one of the guys all year long, right? When sometimes you say maybe Pikeville should be that second team, I say no, Mullins is right there. But listen, when it comes down to, me and Darryl is on the opposite side of the spectrum on that overall. But
normally where we stand on that is with AAU.
Yeah,
that's where I think, you know, what you do in the mountain means more than what you'll ever do in AAU.
And in this particular game, when you talk about better team, Bob, I don't think that you can deny that Belfry's a better team in that. And I'm a Mullins fan. Listen, I love your son. I love Colton Young. I love what Grant Hall's done. I love Colton Ratliff. I just bragged on that young man. Caden Lawson. Watch those kids grow up. But Darryl, would you agree Belfry is the better basketball? They proved it 2 out of 3 times.
Well, when you look and see how they dominated, you know, the season, and then, you know, when you see against Mullins, I mean, they beat them double digits at Mullins,
16.
and then, but you know, the thing is, I'm not taking anything away from Mullins, because they went into Belfry on 8th grade night and really upset. You know, they ruined Belfry's 8th grade night.
Right.
But
it's like the year before.
I think if that game's played 10 times, I think Belfry wins 8 of them.
Thomas Rainye, what do you think?
The KBC special. It's different than regular county basketball. Everybody's got to adjust to the officiating. You know, it probably wasn't what they were used to, but they got to adjust. so much of the KBC to me depends on the draw. Where you get placed, because let's face it, it's not seeded like the NCAA tournament. And you're saying, well, how do you know? Because I saw it. I saw Adams make the run, and they're still the only team from this area to win a KBC state. It's hard. You have to run the gauntlet, because eventually.
And that was a Kobe Connor feud. Yeah. It was Jay Connor.
No, Connor wasn't there. He was a year before, but that was Kobe. That was Jake Hyden. That was Devin Hall. That was. I mean, there was just they had 8 or 9 kids. But the point of what I'm trying to say is, it all depends on that draw. Mm-hmm. If you have to face the top team early on, you can get knocked out in the field of 32-16, and you're playing in the other side of the bracket. I'm not taking away anything from either team, but it is very, very difficult to go down there and win it because it's not seeded.
It's not seeded, and sometimes maybe it's not so blind.
Yeah.
The draw. It's just not. Sometimes teams are placed in certain spots for a reason, and I'm not saying that happened this time around, but credit Mullins. Hats off to Mullins. I want to make sure that's known. They are legit.
They're
legit,
real.
bro.
They're the real deal.
Mullins was the second best team in Eastern Kentucky this year.
Yeah.
You know, and that's high praise, and Southern West Virginia.
Yeah.
So when you take a look, you know, and Bobby Love, you know, I really like this, that the Mullins kids, you want to see what kind of competitors they are. They was dying to face Belfry in that championship game.
Yeah.
So you know, they wanted another shot. And listen, I guarantee tomorrow, if somebody put that game together, they'd all be up and ready to play.
Right.
You know, because they want that. It's that rivalry.
Absolutely. And like I said, I'm not saying Mullins had an easy seed. That's not what I'm saying. It just depends a lot of time. And I get it. You're seeded after pool play. But if you're put in there with 2 of the other top teams in the state, your pool play number's not going to be that good.
And you go by margin of victory in pool play to get the overall seed. To get the overall seed, then you get in the lighter bracket. So sometimes that pool play, the first game you get matched up with, means everything in that championship run. Take nothing again. Mullins made a run. They beat East Perry.
Got hot at the right time.
Yeah, and listen, they faced a tradition-rich North Laurel team, and they took them down to the wire. Jameer Knuckles played tremendous. Grant Hall, all those guys. Colt Young had a tremendous tournament. All those guys are legit. I don't want to take anything away. It was a different tournament this year. You were missing some teams and missing some players, but to go down there and what Pikeville did and Mullins did and Belfry did,
that's special.
It was special.
And listen, in the game over there, the Pike County Championship, you know, I want to give a shout out to Grant Hall. I mean, that kid battled from whistle, you know, from the tip to whistle. You know, he was a stud in that ball game. It was just that ball game there. I think emotions got, you know, they got kind of up, and I think it took Mullins out of what they was doing. You know, it was almost a situation where Mullins come to a fight and Belfry come to win a ball game. Yeah. You know, and that's you've seen what Mullins could do at the KBC, because they went down there and made that run and got to where everybody thought they could, and that's the championship game.
Tremendous job. That was the goal set way back in 6th grade for that Mullins team, and they almost got it. Not close enough. Guess what? It might be fuel for the fire as they move up to the high school.
Yeah, I mean, like, them was 2 great teams no matter how you stack it.
Right.
I mean, they was elite. Now, hats off to Chapmanville last night. They beat Huntington St. Joe, who was probably next year. St. Joe will be in our rankings, but if you've had their middle school this year, they would have been in the top 5. They was that good. And Chapmanville beat them in overtime last night in middle school action, so they continue to roll. Logan becomes the MVAC, I think it is, champs. That right there, you know, that's a very tough conference that they play in. Mm-hmm. They play all them Huntington area schools in that conference, and for them to win that, I mean, I know Grayson Sanders, I know our boy Lucas. There was a lot of players that showed up in that championship game. So congratulations to Seth Hayner and the Logan Wildcats. And Lenore, hats off to them winning the Mingo County Championship, beating Williamson on what's evidently Williamson's home floor, the Williamson Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
So that was a big win for Lenore. You know, them 3 schools played really good ball. And then Louisa wrapping up the middle school season. We seen yesterday why they was so special. You got to see Mr. Caden Johnson. You know, imagine that kid in middle school. That's why Louisa was what they was.
The real deal.
Yeah, and they're very well coached by Kenny Munson.
Yes.
So now, as we're jumping forward, let's talk about Brady Robinson. Brady Robinson, 59 points. Think of this, 59 points. When you sit there and see a kid drop 59, how rare is it? Travis Perry dropped 61. I think 59 is the most besides Travis Perry.
There you go.
Right?
Third done.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
There you go. Third done. Brady Robinson.
Yeah, he'd be the only one maybe.
Oh,
but
strips
I don't think
away.
Yeah, I don't.
Brady
Robinson. You know, he came out there and it was the thing is he shot such a high percentage. The kid may have missed 5 or 6 shots all night long. You know, that's what was so
Brady
special
Robinson.
about that. It wasn't him coming out, jacking up 40 shots. He come and he made the best of his opportunities, and he really dominated. Belfry couldn't stop him on that night.
You know, it's no secret. I coached Brady for 2 summers. Man, oh man, has that kid every year elevated his game. His work ethic is like no other. He really, whatever his weakness is at the moment, he fixes. The knock on Brady was he was a great athlete, let him shoot.
Yeah.
Not anymore. You better not let him shoot. He's going to make you pay. I can remember from his sophomore to junior year, he struggled at the free throw line. He came out, he worked on it all summer, started the season his junior year. I think he hit 35 in a row before he finally missed. I mean, he works hard at his game, and that's why you're seeing the difference. And that's why Betsy Lane's where they're at. I mean, they've got great play out of Andrew Kidd. They've got great play out of Byron Tackett. But Brady Robinson is there, the big game, when they need him.
Yeah, I mean, I just was very impressed. And then for him to go out on senior night with a performance like that, I mean, he come into that game 52 points shy of 2,000. And he said before it, he said, I was feeling nervous. He said, I knew something special was going to happen. You know, he said, I just didn't know what. And then he comes out, hits that 2,000-point milestone, caught an alley-oop from his brother. I mean, is there anybody that's put up a better senior night than what he has?
Well, I'll say this, too. This is one of the things about Derek Newsom you like. I watched this in Pike Central with the girls. He will, if he understands there's a moment for a player, he ain't going to hold that moment back. He's going to allow that moment to if that player's capable, and Brady Robinson's capable, brother, he allowed that moment to happen because Brady got off to a great start. Brady was absolutely balling out and doing what a great coach does, or doing what a coach does that cares about his player. He allowed that moment to happen for that young man. Tremendous game. Unbelievable.
Well, a lot of people gripe because he left him in, and that's the elephant in the room, and we're going to talk about it here. You know, people gripe because they left him in. I have no problems with them leaving him in. Normally, you know, I'd say, you know, maybe this or that. But he went over there. I think it was like 3 minutes and 40-some seconds Belfry put their subs in. And I seen him go over, and he said 2 points away. So at that point, he thought he was 2 points away from the 2,000-point mark. And so he left him in there for that. And then he put his subs in. I think it was like a 211 or 220 something. I seen him grab the subs off the bench. Well, I don't think he thought that Brady would drop another 5 points before the subs got in there. So I don't got any problem with him leaving Brady out there for that special moment. I mean, myself, I wish he would have let him hit that 60 mark.
Well, it ended up. Go ahead, Thomas.
Well, I'm gonna go back this. He was also chasing the school record. He set the school record for points too that night. 54, I think, was the school record. So, I mean, I guess you can use that argument right on through. Hey, he's chasing the school record. Why not let him get that one too?
Yeah. I mean, that's it. You know, so I have no issue. You know, me myself. You know, I come from the school of if you don't like it, stop it. You know, and it's not like, you know. Listen, Belfry has got one of the top 5 perimeter defenders in the region in Caden Woolham, and you know, they got other great defenders that they could have got some kind of game plan that could have stopped him. But, you know, it was one of them nights where it was, you know, he was going to do what he wanted when he wanted. And, you know, if you don't like it, stop him. I mean, and I'm a Belfry guy, you know, and I'm a Michael Hagee guy.
Right.
You know, I'm a big fan of all of them, but I have no issue.
No, hey, hats off to Brady Robinson. Game of a lifetime. He'll remember that forever and a day. And 2,000 points, Thomas Rainye, that's big time, right?
Well, 2,000 points, and look at the scores he's played alongside. It's not
That's a
like
good
he was a
point.
one-man wrecking crew either, you know.
Yeah. That's a good point. He's played along a lot of great scores.
Check this out. Brady's last 5 games, 21, 25, 27, 59, 37. That's a run. So as we are Thomas is getting ready to give us the district things. We got the state seedings, Thomas, that we'll throw out real quick. Let us know who each region is paired up with in the state.
All right, there you see it. The opening round for the girls, always ladies first here, starts. The opening round will be March 8th and 9th. 3 plays 4, 7 plays 15, 12 plays 10, 11 plays 13, 14 plays 16th. I'm talking about regions. 5 plays the first region, 6 plays the 9th region, and 8 plays the 2nd region. That's the girls. Then the boys will be a week later, roughly, starting March 15th through the 16th. It'll be the 5th region will take on the 1st region. The 6th region will take on the 8th region. 4 versus 12. The 3rd region will take on our friends up in the 16th region. 11 versus 15. 7 versus 14. 2 versus 9. And 10 versus 13.
True. That is a rough draw for the 15th region.
Always is.
Yeah, I mean, you get Louisville in one and Lexington in the other.
You got Louisville in the girls and Lexington in the boys.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
That's tough.
Yeah, they, you know, I feel sorry for the 15th region. I did think the 14th region in girls, didn't they get compared with the 16th?
They got paired with the 16th, yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to be really fun. I mean, you could see a Hazard, Letcher Central, Leslie County, you know, one of them teams facing, you know, a Mandy Lane at Russell, Ashland, you know, Rowan County. So that's going to be really fun. Now, you can bet that Rupp will be filled for that one. So, Thomas, district tournaments, let us know what we got and where we need to pick.
Start with tomorrow night. How about that? Let's go up to the 58 to start with. I'm trying as I get it loaded. I know those. I did the graphics. Lawrence County. This is girls. Lawrence County versus Betsy Lane.
Lawrence County.
Prestonsburg versus Floyd Central.
Floyd.
That's tough. Audrey Prater out. I would have said it would have been a game, but Floyd Central.
All right.
Now, is she not playing?
Well, I mean, she's not 100%.
Yeah.
She couldn't go the whole game the other night. I mean, she may be back.
May be good.
Who knows? Now let's jump over to.
I know it's bad having Maddie Mead against her.
That's tough.
Or Chloe Johnson.
Yeah, Chloe Johnson.
Hang on, I do apologize. Like I said, I was caught a little bit off guard. The 57th in the girls.
Well, real quick before you go to that 58th. That sets up Lawrence County and Floyd Central.
Lawrence County, Floyd Central. Who you got?
Lawrence County.
I'm going to say at Lawrence, you're not beating Melinda Feltner and Kinsley Feltner. I think it's going to mean too much to them two, that mother-daughter duo.
All right, here we go. Paintsville versus Johnson Central. Girls. Let's finish all the girls first.
Okay.
57th. Ooh, at Paintsville.
I'm going to go Paintsville.
I'm going with Paintsville.
I'm going to go Johnson Central.
I think in the postseason, things slow down. And I think Johnson Central, you know, if it was in the region tournament, on that big floor, I would probably go with Coach Hicks. But I think at Paintsville, I think things are going to slow down, and I think it's going to allow Paintsville to play their style of basketball in a rowdy atmosphere.
I'm going with Johnson Central. You heard that, Becca and Taylor and all those girls. All right, and then Martin County McGoffin.
I'm going Martin County.
And Martin County's taking that one.
Yeah, McGoffin's on like a 7-game winning streak. Angel Mullis is playing really well.
They're a solid team.
Well, I'll go Martin County. So then, Martin County against whoever makes it out of Johnson Central Paintsville. Since I said Johnson Central,
I'm going Martin County.
I think it's Martin County's to lose.
To lose, but guess what? I'm going with Paintsville.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm going with you, Coach. I just think. Knowing Emmy Priest, I do know that they're going to have a chip on their shoulder, and they really hate when them girls beat them. Right. You know, I just think that it's going to be one of them when Paintsville will make a run unless Trimble wins this year.
All right, let's jump up to the 59th in the girls. Pikeville Eastridge.
Let's just skip all the nonsense. Pikeville wins it.
I think Pikeville wins it as well.
Pikeville cuts it down.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
listen. Pikeville won each game in their district this year by 52 points.
Wow.
By an average of 52 points.
Yeah.
That's dominant.
It's dominant.
Yeah.
Let's go to the 60th. Belfry gets the bye. They're in the championship game. So the semifinal game will be Pike Central versus Phelps.
It's held at Belfry?
At Belfry.
That's a tough one, man.
Oh, because Phelps is playing better.
Phelps has been playing really good ball right now. I just think that Pike Central. I think Pike Central's the better team. I think Phelps can knock them off, but I don't see them in that district atmosphere. I think Pike Central is going to be up for that game. They're not going to fall asleep. You know, it's going to take Phelps playing an A game, Pike Central playing their B game.
Right. I got Pike Central.
I'll take the underdog. I'll go with Phelps.
Yeah.
Okay. Belfry against whoever on their home floor for the district championship.
That's
going to be a tough one. I'm going to take Pike Central. I'm going to say Pike Central upsets Belfry on their home floor.
Yeah, that could very well happen. I'm with you, but I'm going to go with Belfry.
I'm going Belfry. Okay, so since I'm struggling to get over to the boys in time, let's see. Let's start with the 57th. McGoffin County, Paintsville.
McGoffin, Paintsville?
Yep, 1 versus 4.
And it's held
at Paintsville.
Yeah. Man, I don't want to bet against Connor Fugate.
That's tough, man.
I got to go with McGoffin. I think McGoffin has been the most consistent team in the 15th region this year. Give me McGoffin.
If it was just a regular season game, I go with McGoffin County. But district tournament time, I'm going to go with Paintsville.
I'm going Paintsville with the upset.
Yeah.
Johnson Central, Martin County.
Wow.
Johnson Central, that's a tough one, man. I don't ever bet against Tommy McKenzie in the postseason. I tell you, I still think Martin County is that much better than a lot of teams, and I gotta think that they're gonna have a few days here off to get ready for this. I gotta think that they're going to get back to their form and win that game.
Johnson Central's playing really well. When I say that, I mean I'm just talking about being competitive against elite teams, and then of course they knocked off Prestonsburg at home the other night. I think Martin County, they negate a lot of Johnson Central size. Okay, so they negate that, and then they've got multiple shooters.
Yep.
I think Martin County's going to knock off Johnson Central.
That's it. Ryan Rose don't have the big advantage because Matt Linville is the best shot blocker in the 15th region.
I'm gonna go JC.
Smart man.
Yeah.
I'm betting with Tommy McKenzie.
Yep.
And then championship game.
I'm going McGoffin.
At Paintsville, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go in Martin County.
My scenario, I'm going with Johnson Central. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we all got different winners.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump over to the 58th.
And that's traditionally the best district. It is this year. A lot of people thought the 58th would be, but no, the 57th is the best district in the 15th region.
Been really good.
Betsy Lane, Prestonsburg.
Betsy Lane, Prestonsburg.
Let me make it easy for you. Betsy Lane.
Listen, Betsy Lane has jumped out and probably beat them by 40 points in between both first quarters. I don't know that Prestonsburg's got the firepower to beat them. I think that Betsy Lane is just that dominant on offense. And when I look down at Prestonsburg, I'm like, on a bad night, Betsy Lane's going to score 60. Well, I look at Prestonsburg and I'm like, man, it's going to be tough to find 60 points on the roster.
I think that's where you're at, Darryl. Betsy Lane, Prestonsburg. Can you cover the points?
Yeah.
And we've talked about that. They have a tough time scoring the ball, especially the last 3-4 weeks. And they're going to have to find a way to negate a little bit of Betsy Lane's start and be able to find a couple other guys that can score the basketball. I do believe it can be competitive. I do believe Prestonsburg has an opportunity to win that game. They've won 5 of 8 quarters. But I'm going to lean with the tight one, Betsy Lane.
Yeah, I think they're a better matchup. I think they match up better with Betsy Lane than they do any school at Prestonsburg, any school in the 58th district. I think they got the matchup they wanted. I just, it's tough. You got to find a way to make Derek Newsom go to his bench.
Yep. Lawrence, Floyd Central. I think it's a trap game right here. This is tough.
This is really tough, man, because the last time Floyd Central went down there, they got beat by that shot that went viral, Will Lafferty, throwing up a Hail Mary. But I think since that point, I think Floyd Central is playing their best basketball, and I think Lawrence is playing their worst basketball of the year. Or they're not playing as good, put it that way. But then again, you're like, well, at Lawrence, it's got to be worth 8 to 10 points there. It being at Lawrence, but I think Floyd Central is just going to be too much.
Offensively, who's number? Maybe you talk about Martin County a little better offensively. We saw a shootout. We saw a shootout between Martin. I'm talking about when we went down and watched Martin and Floyd Central play. They put 90 and 84 on the board, so they're probably the second best scoring team, maybe the number one scoring team. We thought it would be like that this year in the region. So they're where they should be when we anticipate at the beginning of the year. Lawrence County, can they win? But like Darryl said, Lawrence County's playing their worst basketball of the year. I'm going to go with Floyd Central.
I'm going to go with Floyd Central, but it would not surprise me one bit for Lawrence County to win.
Not at all.
Chandler Thompson's an unbelievable coach.
Yep.
And he just seems to have that number to stick around. But I'm going to go with my heart and go with the Jags.
Yeah, now that
leaves Betsy Lane, Floyd Central in the championship.
Yeah, I'm on to, man. I just see right now. I think Floyd Central is the better team, but I can't bet against Brady Robinson his senior year. When you watch that kid play, he's playing with a purpose. They're going to make it nasty. They're going to make it, they're going to make you play their style of basketball. I'm going to go with Brady Robinson and Betsy Lane. Well,
we've seen how Betsy Lane's pressure really just got Floyd Central out of sorts. Me and you, Thomas, right now. I mean, it was shell-shock city, turnover. Now we're going to neutral site game. They had a chance to see it. You know what? I'm still going with Betsy Lane, though, even though as well as Floyd Central's playing, I believe Betsy Lane gets that W.
I think you hit the nail. I'm going to go right here. I think you hit the nail on the head. To beat Betsy Lane, you have to get them in foul trouble. You have to get to that bench. If Floyd Central gets them in foul trouble, they win the game. If they don't, Betsy Lane wins. So I'm going to go with Betsy Lane.
Yeah.
I do. But the key to beat Betsy Lane, I think you have to get to that bench.
Yeah.
Because not that there's not great players. Isaiah Allen is one of the best up-and-coming players. I think Tanner Martin is a pure athlete. Could resemble a Brady Robinson someday. But they've not been in that big game, in the moment, in the trenches, tested under fire.
No.
So if Floyd Central can get them in foul trouble, I think they're beat.
All right.
All right, let's jump over to the 59th. It will be Pikeville at Jenkins. Pikeville takes on Jenkins at Eastridge.
Pikeville gets it done.
Shelby Valley, Eastridge.
I think Shelby Valley, although Eastridge can beat them, but I think Shelby Valley's playing good basketball right now.
I agree with both those picks.
Shelby Valley.
Pikeville, Shelby Valley Championship.
They've played so many times. You're like, and it being Rodney Rowe's last hurrah, I'm going to say Pikeville beats them.
You just prolonged the inevitable.
Shelby Valley's the best defensive team in the region, but even with that, I don't think they have enough to stop
Charlie
Fitzer, Riley Salmons, Eli Johnson.
You have to check comments there. I don't have any. Pike Central gets the bye in the 60th. They're automatic in the championship game. Belfry, Phelps at Belfry.
This one's going to be a tough one, a really tough one for Belfry. This Phelps team can upset them. They got Dawson McCoy. If he's healthy and back from that ankle injury, then it's going to be really tough. The other thing, if Banks is healthy, you got the number 2 rebounder in the state and one of the most dominant inside forces in the region in Jonathan Banks. I think it being at Belfry, I think Pond Creek will make it a crazy atmosphere, and there'll be too much for Belfry for Phelps on this night.
Yeah, I think Belfry.
Belfry. Championship, Pike Central, Belfry. I go Pike Central.
I think this is going to be your upset. I think Belfry is going. I think Caden Woolham is going to show you what kind of defender he is. I think he's going to come out and not stop him because nobody's going to stop him. But I think he's going to find a way to contain what Jalen Rigdon does. I think he'll play with a purpose that night. If they can take it and they can get, if they can get 15 to 22 points from Noah Brown and get that double-double from Banks, then I think they'll have a good chance to win district at home. And you got to remember, Belfry's playing too. Their coach has been really sick this year. Prayers going out to Coach Hagee.
Yeah.
So they're going to be playing with a purpose.
Playing with a purpose and a passion. Belfry's been playing well as of late outside that blowout. They played McGoffin County close and a couple other teams as of late. Floyd Central close the other night. But I am going to say Pike Central edges that one out, but it wouldn't surprise me if Belfry can get it done at Belfry.
I say that, and then when they get to region, I say Pike Central makes a deep run. Yeah. Belfry loses in first.
Yeah.
I think this is their Super Bowl.
Homer. I just don't think Belfry is getting better every game. I just don't think they have the firepower to beat Pike Central.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be tough. But like I said, Pike Central, they depend on 2 guys scoring.
That's
and you go in having to stop 2. I mean, can it be done? I don't know. But right now, I'm a fool to bet against Jaden Stewart because he showed when the postseason comes around, lights get bright. He plays his best.
Yeah.
He's there.
Yep.
And that's all of them.
That rounds
in the
it
15th.
out. Now the over in the 60th or the 16th, we won't go district by district, but I think if I had to tell you 4 teams come out, I think on the girls' side it's going to be Ashland, Russell, Rowan, and Boyd. I think those are going to be your 4 over there. And then I think on the boys' side, it'll be Ashland, Russell, Boyd, definitely be in there. And then I think either Fleming County or Bath County.
53rd?
53rd district, I think in the girls, I think that Letcher. I think Letcher wins both of them.
It'll be a not Letcher final, I think, in both.
Yep.
And I'm going with not on the girls and Letcher on the boys.
There you go. So it's going to be a very exciting postseason, and I can't wait till the boys in West Virginia gets lined out. We didn't get to talk about them much because they've not, it's not to that point yet. They're still a week behind, but right now, last week we got to mention Logan beat Chapmanville at Logan.
Yeah.
But that's without Brody Dalton. I think Chapmanville is a completely different team. Both of Chapmanville's losses have come with Brody Dalton out of the lineup. So, I think, though, when you look, Dilmer's still two of the top 6 teams, Logan and Chapmanville. I could see both of them making, especially if Scotty Browning has a consistent run, then they're both going to make a run at a state title. So,
hopefully we'll have the girls should be final now. We can post those matchups on our website.
Yep.
I'm sure Bradley's working on that. Like I said, another week before the boys sectionals are set up over there.
And I heard some breaking news today. Clyde Farley will be resigning as coach of state champion coach of the Toke Valley Panthers girls team next year. Definitely hate to see Clyde not around. Clyde is a great coach and he's a great man off the court.
Yeah.
So we definitely going to miss Clyde. Hopefully, whatever he does in his next endeavor in life, he succeeds.
Yeah.
So, guys, want to thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in. Swaggy Sal had senior night last night. I still going to go home. That's what I'm going to do tonight, go watch his senior night. But, congratulations to all the teams that's made it to this point in the season. Tomorrow, win or go home, it starts, folks. Get out to your local gym, whether you're rooting for a team or not. Get out and support these kids in your local areas. Make it a wild atmosphere, and enjoy. There's nothing better to do than a district tournament. Get out, mingle, and just be part of the process. Cheer on these kids, make it a wild environment, and you can watch the 58th and the 60th district tournaments right here on the D&D Sports Network. We will have more information, as we talked earlier, about the AAU program coming up. We will release tryouts in the coming weeks, so you guys just kind of keep that in mind. Let us know if you're interested so we can pass it on. And till next time, Thomas Rainye, he's Kevin Keathley, I'm Darryl McCoy. Till next time, so long and good night.
There it is, Brady Robinson.